with the barbecue sauce that used to come with it. Douse it up.
And Chris Ello.
Yow!
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Pitch coming. Tim swings, sends it in the air, deep to left field. Stowers is back, still going back at the wall, leaps up, can't make the catch, hits off the top of the fence and goes! A home run to tie it! Down to their final out in the ninth inning. Ha-Sung Kim, it's his first homer since June, and it's 7-7 in the ninth. Bill Miller is checking with his buddies in New York. His microphone has not been working today. He's trying to make his announcement. The microphone's not working. He will signal a double? What?
Oh, my goodness. And with all of that, the Padres' miracle finish to the series in Miami fell just a tad short, but very little can wipe out what the Padres have been doing recently. After all, folks, they're only in the midst of the greatest 19-game stretch in franchise history. With that, we welcome you into Gwynn and Chris, 2:01 is the time. Happy Monday to you, Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., out at Petco Park, where tonight the Padres will look to keep things rolling against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Matt Scraby alongside here in the Odyssey Palace. And speaking of Jesse Agler, who you just heard there, he will be joining us in this hour from Petco to get some of his thoughts on the Padres' recent stretch of games. Tony Gwynn Jr., you were on vacation last week. I'm almost thinking it's a good thing they lost yesterday. They may not have let you come back.
Well, let's be honest. I was also on the trip where they went like 7-2 against better teams. So
That's
they
right.
don't let me back.
That's right. They're going to let you back.
But either way, it was nice to see them continue what they had started on this homestand, basically. And Padres are in a good spot. I mean, in terms of what they've done here in the last, 19 games? Is that what you said?
19-game stretch,
Yeah.
16-3,
like
equaling the greatest ever in the history of the team.
Yeah. And so they've obviously done some terrific work. They've opened it up a little bit, and the wild card standing, they've closed the gap a little bit. And when I say opened it up, they haven't separated themselves. But what did we say? You win enough series, you win enough series in a row, all of a sudden the wins start to separate themselves from the losses, and that's what the Padres done. Now, the other side of that coin is so have the Diamondbacks. They've pretty much been step for step. I mean, they're right in our armpit right now. They're there. They're right there with us.
Yeah.
So
same record. So
yeah, they haven't been able to shake them. I mean, even the Giants are starting to play some good baseball. They're chasing down that third wild card spot. So listen, there's a lot happening right now. A lot of positive things happening right now. One being which that the Padres get one of their guys back today in Joe Musgrove. Starts tonight. Big to see him back. It'll be bigger to see him get through this start, and now you can start counting on him to be a part of this rotation. Offense has been terrific. Pitching, not quite as terrific as the offense has been, but nonetheless, there is not a lot to be upset about when it comes to the Padres.
Yeah, they're averaging 7 runs a game during this 19-game stretch. 7 runs a game. Even if the pitching isn't very good, you can go 16-3 if you average 7 runs a game. And the pitching, by and large, has been good. They didn't have a good weekend in Miami on the mound. But this is an amazing stretch, and it's happened in all kinds of amazing ways. It seems like, every time they're down to their last out, they come up with something. And they nearly did yesterday. And look, Ha-Sung Kim, as Jesse said in the clip, and hit a home run since June, and he rockets one to the top of the fence there in left field. And look, I mean, by all accounts, the umpires got together, got the call right. The rule is the rule, And, that's just so be it. Luis Campusano needed to come up there and get a base hit, and, he didn't. And, it just shows it's not supposed to really be this easy where every time you're down a couple of runs in the ninth inning, you just automatically win the game. That's not normally how baseball works. I believe in that trip they had 4 games in a row that they trailed in the 8th inning and won, and that was the first time that's ever happened in franchise history.
Yeah, you could take Jackson Merrill for 3 of those.
And you can take Jackson for all of that. I'm kind of holding off on him right now because I want to give him a segment to himself. I've been battling personally with Bradford Doolittle of ESPN.com for the last week, Tony.
Personally, huh?
Yes, ever since he ranked Jackson 6th in the NL Rookie of the Year balloting. And, I tweeted that out yesterday, and now I have about 600 of my closest friends who are battling Bradford Doolittle.
Well, you know why, right? Tony, you don't know this about Chris. He's a major Twitter guy now, and Eric Hosmer actually quote-tweeted Chris's tweet, in which got it in front of all the audience right there.
Well,
nice.
Look, this is a no-brainer.
He's playing it cool, but he's very excited about it.
I was really excited. I got so many likes, I didn't know what to do with it. But, here's the thing. I mean, the guy, you want to argue Paul Skeens should win the Rookie of the Year, fine. If you want to argue that Jackson is this and that, fine. If you're going to honestly write for a supposedly, reputable publication and you're going to tell me that the guy is 6th best in the league, that was so beyond, impossible for me to believe. And I do want to thank Scraby. He tried really hard to get Bradford Doolittle on.
I did.
And I don't want to say that Bradford Doolittle refused.
No.
But it just didn't happen.
He just never responded.
He didn't respond. Maybe he knows what's good for him. I don't know.
See, this is the reason. You can't say if he knows what's good for him.
I think he should come on in San Diego and at least explain, what he was thinking when he wrote this. This article was dated August 8th. Since then, Jackson's hit 2 more tying home runs, but even without those, he'd already hit 3 and, having a magical year. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say for the next segment. So let's talk a little bit about, what's going on with what's coming up. Look, they're 3.5 games out of the division. The other side of it, they're now 4.5 games clear of the Mets for the wild card. So they're actually closer to the Dodgers than they are to being out of the playoffs. But as you pointed out, Tony, there really is no time to rest, and I think that that's a good thing. You just get up every day, and you have to go back to work because while the Padres have gone 16-3, the Diamondbacks have gone 14-3. Even the Dodgers, if you look at the teams in Major League Baseball that were at the top of the heap, and I'm talking about the Yankees, the Orioles, the Guardians, the Phillies, and the Dodgers. Those were the 5 runaway teams in mid-July. Well, every one of those teams has a losing record since then, except the Dodgers. They're at least hanging in there at 500. So that's how the Padres have been able to close the gap. Dodgers did just sweep Pittsburgh. They're getting Mookie Betts back. They're probably going to get Muncy back. But so the thing is, the Padres have to keep going here. They can't just say, hey, we won 16 out of 19, so we accomplished everything we needed to. Because if they take a deep breath, they're going to find themselves in trouble again. So,
yeah, I think you're spot on. They definitely have to keep. And listen, the reality is, it's more likely us as the fans on the outsider that have to keep our bearings about us right now. Because it's real easy at a 16-4 clip to start pounding your chest a little bit, and now being 12 games over 500? 13 games over 500.
My goodness. Yeah.
I think that's something that you certainly have, but I think those dudes in the clubhouse, they know that. The reason why they've closed the gap on the Dodgers because they haven't been focused on it. They've focused on winning the game that they're playing in front of them, and so I expect them to continue to do that. Listen, it's hard to listen. I don't say these type of things very often, but there is something in the air in terms of this team and their ability to come back, and it's not just Jackson Merrill. It's somebody different seemingly on a nightly basis. Yes, Jackson Merrill has been a part of a lot of it, and has had a big part in a lot of it, especially those 3 that his homer basically either gave them the lead or tied a game to send them into extras in which they got the lead. But it's just been different characters, it seems like, all the time. And when you got different guys stepping up at different points, as frequently as we've seen this Padre ball club do it, that bodes well. And so it's not perfect right now. As we've talked about, the pitching wasn't great on that road trip, yet they still found ways to win. At the end of the day, it's about stacking W's. You can worry about the everybody being their best version of themselves once you get into the dance. Right now, you just win them however you got to win them. And right now the Padres are doing that as good as anybody in the entire league right now. Maybe besides the Diamondbacks.
No, Diamondbacks are doing it as well as the Padres, but the Padres don't have to take a back seat. And you're right, Tony. When you talk about who's contributing, I mean, just go down the lineup. Just do that. Luis Ariz, is he contributing? Yeah, I'd say so. He's leading the National League in hitting, so I would say that he's contributing. Profar continues to do his thing. Wasn't as magical on this road trip as he's been, but, I mean, the guy's human.
He was too busy trying to get out the way of the baseball.
No kidding. He got hit by a pitch 30 times on this trip. Somebody please do something about that. Cronenworth, maybe you can say he's been in a little bit of a slough, but I still think Jake's such a gamer, and he's got to be part of this thing. Solano hits a big 2-run home run yesterday to get him back in the game. Machado's been there. Bogarts has been hitting about 500 since the All-Star break. Merrill, we talked about. Peralta, how many big hits has this guy had for you recently? Kim almost did it yesterday, and Higashioka at the bottom continues to be the most dangerous offensive catcher in the National League, which is, something nobody would have ever expected. So you're right. I mean, right up and down the lineup, it's been really something. And I hate to tell Mike Schulte he's right when he's 100% right, because it's a big old fat I told you so from him right now. He just talked about winning series at the beginning of the season, and we all said it was a roller coaster and we wanted to get off. And he looked at us and he said, wait a minute, we just won 6 series in a row. We just won 10 out of 11 or 10 out of 12. And everybody said, we don't care because it's a roller coaster and we're tired of the ride. Guess what winning all these series has done? They've won 7 in a row on the series now, and look where they are because of it. So
it's so funny you said that, because I've gone down on the field after some of his. He was bewildered at times about how we on the outside were dealing with the winning of the series, and what felt like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
As it turns out, this is what he was striving for, and now we're starting to feel it. I think it was hard to feel early because the team was kind of right around 500. They'd be a couple games over. They'd get swept. They'd fall like 4 under, and they were doing this dance. But they kept winning series in that time frame. They might have lost a series and got swept, but they would bounce back, win the next couple series. And what has happened is now they've put, 7, 8
7 in a row.
7 in a row of series wins together.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're looking at 13 over. And that is the idea. That is why they call it a marathon. It's because it's a slow drip. It's a slow burn. But here we are, Padres playing some of their best baseball at the it's almost at the right time. I'd like to see that this kind of run happen in September, but beggars can't be choosy. Here we are.
Yeah, take it while you got it, and keep it going as long as you can. As you said, Joe Musgrove returns to the mound tonight. 77 days that he's been sidelined with elbow issues. And if you want a little better news, how about this? Dennis Lynn from The Athletic reporting today that Yu Darvish is throwing some live BP and that a return this season is, quote, still possible. Okay. It's not going to hurt anybody's feelings if Yu Darvish comes back in September and starts some games. So, that's another thing that you can be hopefully keeping in the back of your mind. And Fernando Tatis is, another pretty good player that should be returning to this club here at some point. So, You know, there's a lot of things to be really excited about right now, and just to cap it all off, Jackson Merrill was announced as the National League's Player of the Week. Fortunately, Bradford Doolittle did not have a say in the voting. So, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 11 hits, 4 game-winning. I mean, whatever. Jackson.
Can I interject for a second?
Man.
We're getting a lot of questions about the padding on the wall out there in Marlins Park.
Okay.
The padding on the wall doesn't matter, right? If it doesn't go over the fence,
The
it's
ball,
not
Mike Winters explained it, and Mike
It'll be
Winters
part of
is
the Big Five.
Yeah, we're going to get into it a little deeper in the Big Five, but just real simple. If the ball bounced up in the air, straight up, in the sense that it is then ruled to be continuing in flight, and if it's tipped over the fence, it's a home run. But as soon as it bounces back toward the field of play, which that clearly did, that is the end of the ball in flight.
But what about the padding that was hanging over the field?
The padding, it hit off the padding.
There's
But
no
the padding was
hanging over the field.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The padding was askew on top of the wall.
No, it hit underneath. No, yeah, they're not looking at the right thing.
I'm just bringing up the chat. The
I
chat
know what
really
you're
wants me
saying.
to
It
say
it
this.
clearly hit the padding on the facing of the fence and clearly bounced backwards toward the field. And then once it gets backward toward the field, the flight of the ball is considered done. And the only way it was knocked over the fence was by a player, therefore a rule book double. We'll talk about it more in the Big Five. To me, it's a little confusing, but they clearly got it right. So we just have to start another winning streak tonight. To that end, we will talk more about tonight's game, a little more about Jackson Merrill and his incredible heroics and how hard it must be to do what he is doing. But, man, is it something fun to watch. Gwynn and Chris underway. Glad you're with us on a Monday, kicking off a new week here on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan.
Are you tired of eating at the same
2:23 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scravy. At CJ_Greek. He sent me a picture of said wall that he says is askew. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's a tough case to prove there. I don't know that those.
You know what, CJ? You're right. Home run. We're all flying back to Miami. Let's finish the game. What are you going to do?
I didn't see the game live. I was listening, as I said, in the car.
Yeah.
To Jesse and Scans, I was right around Marietta Temecula area when it popped off.
Oh man!
And
did you hear me jump off the couch? I actually jumped off the couch.
I mean,
in celebration for Ha-Sung Kim hitting a home run. I don't think I've ever done that before, but I was so excited. I couldn't believe that they had honestly done it again.
I literally just turned to my son and said, "Hey, man, the way things have been going,
right?
You never know what can happen." And no sooner did I say that, the crack happens and Jesse's voice raises.
Yeah.
And like when he said that it went down, like the whole car, like it was like the happiest they had been on this 9-hour car ride the whole time. and then as we started to get the whole what was happening with the ball and. I started to, I was very apparent that the mic wasn't working because, I know my partner very well. There's a couple pet peeves of his, and they both have to do with the mic, I think. It's announcing, the MLB not announcing, whatever happens, and then the fact that they don't use the mic as much as they should anyway.
Yeah. He's checking with his buddies in New York. His microphone has not been working today.
He was actually pretty calm at that point.
He was.
Yeah.
But as from a broadcast standpoint, as that situation go along, you would like nothing more than to be able to explain at least what's a piece of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Not even the exact
we all
answer.
wanted to know. Honestly, I don't think anybody had honestly ever seen that.
They
really. I mean, if you had said you'd seen that before, you'd have to go back to some, game that we haven't had video of because I'd never seen it. I wasn't 100% sure. I don't think anyone truly was.
There's a reason why they say there's something that you've never seen happen can happen any game. And that was something, and that's why everybody's feeling some type of way about it, is because there had never been anything that most of us had seen that would lead us to think, you know what? Oh, man, this might just end up being a double because the ball all of that, right? I think a lot of us thought immediately Jose Canseco. I was thinking it in the car as I was driving, and then Jesse mentioned it on the air.
Yeah.
I'm like, that certainly
bounced over Jose's head, off his head, and went over.
But then after hearing Mike Winters kind of come on and explain the rule after the game, you had a better understanding. And I think ultimately the fact that the Padres didn't lose a game until that one makes it all the easier way to kind of swallow it and move on from it. That definitely can be a trivia question for sure. Yeah, I saw your book there, Scrape.
Oh, they were saying I was doing ad-libs on the air, so I had to show them it's the trivia book. I put this in the camera, Chris, because,
what are you doing? You're working on questions for Chris versus the fans?
I'm running out of questions because
it's good to know good to know we're all focused on what the job at hand here.
I'm here and I am present, okay?
I'm here and I'm present, he says.
Well,
but yeah, that was it is what it is. That it wasn't a homer. Jackson this time wasn't involved in it in terms of
he led off the inning, by the way.
He did.
If he had homered to lead off the inning yesterday, I think they would have just had to suspend the rest of the Major League season and said there's something occult or something. What's your you love this stuff, Scraby, this weird, wild.
There's a conspiracy.
Some conspiracy.
No, I just think Jackson Merrill's that good.
He is, but I mean, if he had done it again, 5 times in 6 days, it would have been a little bit hard to imagine.
It really, and that's what's kind of leading me to say, you just don't see that kind of thing happen like that very often. And typically it happens when there's something special happening right now. And this dude is just, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It feels a lot like, watching Toddy come into his own in his first year in a different way. It's not the flashy. and ironically, I think this last week, I think, has put Jackson. We had been having this conversation about Rookie of the Year. This has put him in that realm, and it also helped that the Dodgers kind of made Paul Skeens look a little bit more normal than he had been, and it's going to take a few more of those, but that's certainly within the realm when you're talking about a pitcher who has kind of just easy pickings all the way through. You usually hit a rough spot at some point. He hadn't hit his yet, and maybe that 3-run outing he had, that last one against the Dodgers, is that. But Jackson did what he needed to do, which was find a way to make him put himself on a national stage. And when you hit either a game-tying or go-ahead home runs in 3 consecutive games or 3 out of 4,
Yeah,
guess what?
come on.
A lot of people are going to be talking about it. It also helps that his ball club had won however many straight. So the Padres, the way they've played him, particularly the way he has finished games, I don't know if people saw me swatting at that fly that ran into my face, but
can you come over to our house, Tony? We got a lot of flies in the kitchen too.
Oh, man,
Struggling.
don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I think this week has put him in that conversation, like legitimately in it.
Padres have not won a Rookie of the Year, believe it or not, since 1987. So Benito was the last one, and it's getting real whether ESPN wants to recognize it or not.
Here's a question I forgot to put in the Big Five, actually. It's from our guy Artie, who listens all the time. He said, were you guys cheering for the Dodgers to lose and Paul Skeens have a good night, or Paul Skeens to have a bad night and just give the Dodgers a win? Personally, I was cheering for Paul Skeens to have a bad night and just give the Dodgers the win, but that was a question.
That's a real thought. I mean, you're looking at Paul Skeens take on the Dodgers. You could be like, man, I need him to shove today because the Padres could pick up a game. But on the flip side of that, you could have been thinking, man, be nice to see the Dodgers give him the business here so my man Jackson can start getting the kind of credit he deserves.
Well, Jackson told me that he wants to win the World Series more than the Rookie of the Year award.
That's a great point.
So with that in mind, Paul Skeens, you let us down Saturday night.
He also said he would love to win both. So don't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did say he'd like to win both.
Let's get to break. When we come back, my partner Jesse Agler will join us next. We'll get into that road trip that I was not on. He got the experience firsthand and had some terrific calls on the way there. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
Chris, I got to thank you.
Tony Gwynn Jr. was on vacation last week, but he was a busy guy. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, back. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Tony did a whole bunch of work getting us ready for our Fantasy Football League. I know everyone's Padre crazy right now, but
Yeah.
Fantasy football is right around the corner. Scraby did, as advertised, change the name of his team to
The champ is
here.
Trump is here.
Because he won it last year.
By the way, the champ is making the fantasy baseball playoffs for a second year in the row.
Yeah,
so.
well, the champ may be here, but Crisello just changed the name of his team to Let's Kill the Champ.
Wow, that is violence.
Violence, I
Jeez.
say. Come at you hard.
Off with my head.
You're
is a
putting
better...
a target on your back,
Yeah.
so we're going to come
All
after
right,
you hard.
all right.
Let's see. Jesse Agler is going to join us in just a bit from Petco Park. Fantasy football team owners, by the way, get ready for the draft with the reception perception. Whether you're in a PPR league or not, it's a little confusing there. Wideouts will make or break your fantasy team, so that's why you need to listen to a podcast that specializes in wide receivers. Don't get embarrassed this season with a new tattoo that your friends pick out on your behalf. For finishing last, I suppose. Listen to new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday and get ready for draft day. Follow Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Jesse Agler joins the program. We are very fortunate to have him on. He is a frequent contributor to the program because every time we have need a question answered, Tony leans over and Jesse answers it for us. So we appreciate that. But to get to have him on, it's always fun. He's on the morning show a lot, but we don't get a chance to chat with him too often. Jesse, back to Miami this weekend. Does that still hold a little special place for you to go back home, or have you been back enough now?
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. I mean, it's weird. Like, going back, I mean, you see some familiar people, and there was, like, a writer, George Richards, who was filling in for A.J. Cassavell, who wasn't on the trip, that I used to work really closely with because he usually covers the hockey team, and I've known him for almost 20 years now. He's a great guy. I hadn't seen him in forever. So, like, that piece of it is nice, you know, seeing people that I used to know, I guess. But, I mean, it doesn't feel like home in any way, shape, or form. San Diego feels like home. When we got off the plane last night at Lindbergh, that felt like home, not going back to Miami. And I don't know if you saw my tweet, but my dear old friend Jeff Darlington, who's now at ESPN, it was perfectly timed. I literally saw it as we were getting ready to take off and leave Miami. He tweeted a picture of an iguana in his toilet that had been clogging up their plumbing for the last few days.
Oh, my goodness.
And as if I needed any more reason to be like, I don't miss Florida, well, that was it. Literally.
That is
literally. Go
that's
find
all
the
you
tweet.
need. I may never go to Florida again after hearing about that.
And by the way, iguana might be best case scenario.
Right. It could be one of those
Could be an
Burmese
alligator.
pythons in that bad boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Jesse, Padres continue what was a almost perfect homestand. They go on the road, and they almost put perfection there, if not for the craziness that we saw in yesterday's game. I mean, what's been your take, man? They came home, took care of business against the Dodgers and Rockies. They go on the road and do the same thing, take care of a Pittsburgh Pirates team that was at the time in the mix of things. And then they go to Miami. They almost had a sweep. I mean, this team seems like they're finding ways.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt, right? They're playing their best baseball of the year. I think we could have started saying that, you know, day 2 in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Coming out of the All-Star break. You know, they lost that first game in Cleveland, and you were kind of like, all right, you know, this is sort of how the first half ended. That, by the way, is the last time they've lost back-to-back games. Final game against Atlanta going into the break. First game in Cleveland coming out of the break. They haven't lost back-to-back since then. Pair of 7-game winning streaks. It's like the numbers make it fairly obvious that they're playing their best baseball of the year. But watching it, I mean, they are really playing their best baseball of the year. And, I mean, 6 games in Pittsburgh and Miami, the beauty of baseball, right? Not exactly a road trip we would have circled a couple of months ago as like, hey, this is going to be, you know, must-follow baseball. Every single one of those games had something goofy going on in it. You know, the least goofy game was the game with the rain delay in the second inning to start it off in Pittsburgh, and it only got crazier from there, and I guess it kind of, you know, came to a head with that really unbelievably bizarre ball off the wall last night or yesterday.
Yeah, Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres, right here on 97.3 The Fan. Our guest, Jesse and Tony, tonight have the call. Padres and Pirates, and I know you don't ever, or I think you don't ever prepare before a game to say, What am I going to yell out if Jackson Merrill hits another tying home run tonight? But what did you yell out? I mean, the guy did it almost every night. I mean, this is uncharted territory for a broadcaster, I think, to have something almost this incredible happen.
You know, the cool thing about the game is it presents you with those moments. It really does. You know, it in a way reminded me sort of like as the individual version of the Slam Diego thing in 2020. You know, just sort of this like, well, it can't possibly happen again. And then it did. And then the next day you're saying the same thing to yourself. Well, obviously it's not going to happen tonight. And then it did. And that's sort of what that run for Jackson felt like when he came up yesterday in the 8th.
I heard this part.
I mean,
I heard how you set this one up.
I don't even remember what I said, but like, I fully was like, I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise. Like, and you never want to say that about accomplishing something that remarkable because you always want to be surprised. You always want to kind of have that perspective of like you're seeing something near miraculous. But the reality was like you just done it 3 straight days. Like, why not do it again? I mean, it's the damnedest thing. And I mean, for that kid at that age, at this point in his career, to be able to step up in moments like that and really, not that he's putting the team on his back because they're getting a lot from a lot of guys, as I know you've talked about, but, you know, this is a team with some big dogs.
Yeah.
And for a 21-year-old kid to be like, hey, I gotcha in the 8th and 9th inning, you know, over that many times over the course of a week and a half, that's not something common.
I think you said something, and it was leading up to the inning. You said, well, you won't believe who's leading off the next inning. So
Yeah, right.
don't go away. Something along those
That's
lines.
right, yeah.
Called a tease. in
Let's
business,
let's stay on Jackson because you and I have watched him all year, and he has been as even keeled with a little bit of bumps upward throughout the course of the season. He hasn't really had a downtrodden spot. I mean, he had a little rough patch of like 10 at-bats where he wasn't doing. He struck out the first 4 times, I think, of the first half of the season, first 5 times, and then from there it's just been like normal. That's a 5 at-bat stretch.
Let me ask you, though, when that was happening, were you thinking in your head, oh, boy, this could be it?
I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, boy, this could be it, but it's like, maybe this
The rookie thing.
The wall might be coming. We'll
Yeah.
see. But he has stiff-armed it.
Yeah.
A lot of conversation around Rookie of the Year. We're in August 12th, still a quarter of the season to go. Would you say that this last week has squarely put him in a real conversation to be at the top of the list, if not, significantly right behind Paul Skeens?
No doubt about it. And maybe it's my, brown and gold tinted glasses or my pink and mint glasses on Friday nights. But, I thought he was in the conversation a week ago. You can see it, right? Kind of Elton John.
Pink and mint glasses.
That
The
was a
left
great
eye
visual.
is the pink tint, and the right
was
eye is the
good.
mint tint.
Yes, there you
and
go.
the shell of the glasses is gold. A week ago, I would have thought, yeah, he's right there in the conversation with Skeens, and I do think that this last week kind of vaulted him to another level. I remember you and I having a conversation about him. Maybe it was in June, I don't know, at some point earlier this year, and he had a stretch, and I said something to you along the lines of kind of felt like he leveled up in the last, whatever period of time it was. And that's, I think, what happened again in the last week. He leveled up again. And, what this level is, I don't know. I mean, he's National League Player of the Week. That's, I guess, what the level
That's
is.
something.
Yeah, big time. and I think, if he wasn't already neck and neck in that conversation, I think he is now, absolutely. And I said to Sam on the pregame show yesterday, and I do believe this now, though I didn't for a long time, the East Coast thing is a thing. And it's not nefarious. It's not that the people in New York want to see the people in San Diego fail. It's that they're asleep when the people in San Diego are doing their things. And so for Jackson to have that run, even against the Pirates and the Marlins, I think happening while people were awake in New York and Philadelphia and Chicago is impactful and does make a difference in this conversation. So well-timed, Jackson. Very well-timed. Not that that's what anybody's thinking about. That's the other part I do want to throw in here. I believe the kid when he says, I'm not
Without
really
a
that
doubt.
interested in it.
Without a doubt.
I believe him. And I think we should all, maybe in some ways take our cues from that because he's got bigger fish to fry, as does this team.
He's doing things the right way. That's what I've been really impressed with Jackson. Jesse, now that we're August 12th, if at any point did you start thinking this ever could happen to this team? Or did you think anywhere in the back of your mind through April, May, and June that we would be here?
Yeah, I really did. Look, I have the benefit of sitting next to the most optimistic broadcaster in Major League Baseball.
He gets
now,
mad
you may
at me
not
if I
know
say
this
anything.
about, Yeah, you may not know this about all the MLB broadcasters. They tend to skew cynical around the league a little bit. So that helps, is that I'm next to a guy who not only skews optimistic, but knows more than most of those other guys all put together.
That's true.
About this game, the way it is played, the way it rewards you for playing it the right way. So I wouldn't call Tony a cheerleader because I think he's still very realistic and clear-eyed about it all. But I sit next to a guy who's not going to let the cynicism of a losing 5 out of 7 kind of knock you off balance. And I think that does a lot for me. It's taught me a lot about watching this game. That's the best part of this job, right? I'm surrounded by people who have been surrounded by baseball, in Tony's case, literally his entire life, right? And so though I've watched baseball as a diehard geek fan, for literally as long as I can remember, having access to Tony's knowledge and experience and the other people that we get to be around really helps me kind of paint the picture that I think deserves to be painted around a given team. And there's an awful lot of talent here. They play the game the right way. And as Manny likes to say, as Tony likes to say, the game will reward you when you do those things. And the approach offensively this year, combined with the pitching that they've gotten, they are doing it all the right way. And they are feeling some rewards of that now.
My partner, Jesse Agler, joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And, Jesse, today the Padres, quite frankly, get another boost in a shot in the arm. They get Joe Musgrove back, who hasn't thrown, I think, since May, the end of May at this point. What type of get is this for the Padres to have him come back in this rotation? And I also saw that, Yu Darvish is throwing some lives, and it's not completely out of the question that he could return. But what is getting a guy like Joe Musgrove, who hasn't pitched since May, on August 12th, do for a ball club?
More the merrier.
Yeah.
It's kind of the easy way to look at it, right? Like, more is better in the case of pitching always. Is it unfair to expect Joe to tonight look like peak Joe Musgrove? Of course. He might. He's got that in him. He's Joe Musgrove. But, you understand that for every guy that is added, it just sort of pads your margin for error and your margin for injury and your margin for ineffectiveness. After the trade deadline, we said, oh, look, this is the new bullpen for the Padres with, these X number of new guys combined with Y number of guys that were already here. That doesn't mean that that's going to be the bullpen going into, hopefully big-time playoff series. More things are going to happen, good and bad, between now and the end of the regular season in Arizona the last weekend of September. And so I think, the more healthy, available, productive guys you have, the better position you're going to be in. And obviously, when you're talking about Joe and Darvish, those are a couple guys with very high ceilings.
Jesse Agler, I tell you, how did you like the story that Mr. Posner wrote about you, the cover piece in the Union Tribune? I really liked it. I think a lot of people out there probably wanted to find out. You probably were, I don't know if you're a little embarrassed or sheepish about something like that being on the front of the paper. But I got to tell you something. The story at the beginning was so hilarious to me, about how you were talking baseball and somebody had to lean over and say, this is a baseball job, and because you were talking about football. It was one of the classics of all time, but I think it said a lot about you. You're honest, and you've paid your dues to get where you are, and I think a lot of us appreciate that, and that's why we appreciate you. So
thanks, Chris. It's very nice of you.
But the story at the begining, can you tell me a little bit about that one? You know what I'm talking? The one I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I was interviewing for a job with the Dolphins. I had already at this point done a couple of years kind of hosting, not those Dolphins, hosting pre and post for the Panthers, the NHL team, and the Marlins. And I had filled in doing play-by-play for the Marlins. This is I'm 24 years old, and I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm in. I'm a guy now in the major leagues. And of course, that's not the case. And then, the Marlins switched radio stations. I worked for the radio station because I was kind of left out on a lurch. Anyway, long story short, I end up in this position where I'm interviewing for a job with the Dolphins. And it was going to be a really big role and something of a big break, or at least a medium-sized break in my career. And it had been rescheduled what felt like a dozen times. They kept saying, oh, no, sorry, we can't do it. Oh, no, sorry, we can't do it. And so finally I get a call. It was like, hey, can you be here in 30 minutes? And I was like, yes, of course, because that's what you say when someone asks you that question when you're interviewing for a job. But I was like sick on the couch with a flu and like 103 fever. So I just popped all this Dayquil. I assume I showered, although I don't remember. And then I just sped down there as quickly as I could. And so, I show up, and one of the first questions, that I was asked in this interview with your team, the Miami Dolphins, Chris, was, what's your dream job? Which, by the way, is the best interview question you can ever ask anybody. I ask people that all the time. Hey, what's, like young people in the industry, what do you want to do? What's your dream? And so that was the question that got asked to me. And even though I was interviewing for this job with an NFL team, the Miami Dolphins, I said, I want to be a baseball announcer.
I love it. And the guy said, we are a football team, right?
Right. He's like,
If you know Jesse as well as I do, that's really not that much of a surprise. Jesse, we'll leave you with this one. It's a pretty quick one. You and I will get a chance. The last week of the season, the Padres will play the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Based on how this thing is shaping out as we speak, that could be an epic week. I mean, this National League West division, and we thought it at the beginning of the season, then we kind of like, well, maybe not after about halfway through, but this division is legit.
It's up for grabs. This is, I think, as a fan, what you dream of. Maybe not. As a fan, you probably dream of winning the division by 30 games and having a very stress-free summer. But, aside from that, you dream of the whole thing coming down to a couple of key games head-to-head. And, we don't have those Game 163 tiebreakers anymore. So, it will be, decided based upon how you play against these teams in the regular season. Padres have already won the season series against the Dodgers. I think the Diamondback one is still undecided, although I should probably check that. And, yeah, I mean, it could all come down to that last week. All I know, Tony, you and I are going to be in L.A. We are going to be in Phoenix. And now that we're giving you like a 6-week heads up, everybody, come and join us. Because I bet you right now tickets are available both spots for the Padre fans to come out there. Yeah. And if that fits your budget and your calendar to see a couple of those games, boy, you could be in for something pretty special.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The Padres have made it fun. Jesse Agler has made it great for us for the last several years as the voice of the Padres. Thanks so much for coming on, Jesse. We appreciate your time, as always. Thank you.
Anytime, guys.
There he goes. Jesse Agler, the voice of Padre baseball. Yes, listen to Jesse, but don't listen to Jesse. Because when the football team asks you what your dream job is, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe you should try the football answer.
He still got the job.
It worked out for him.
I know a lot of people, including myself, that would not have told the truth when that question is asked.
Right. Yeah.
Like, especially with that job, like, sitting in front of you.
He could have been the Dolphin guy. And who knows, we might have won a Super Bowl or two with Jesse at the call.
He's like, man, I would love to be a play-by-play guy for the Patriots.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that would have been a really good answer. All right, more Gwynn and Chris on the way. Good fun first hour. Padres are having fun. Tonight it's the Pirates. More on that when we return.
Into the 3 o'clock hour, we roll. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, just hanging out. The gang's back together. Had about a week off. Yes, we just had a.
Are you sharing
Agler.
with anybody where you went, or is that a family secret?
I don't think everybody needs to know.
Nobody needs to know?
No.
It's only places where rich people are allowed, everybody.
Okay, you know what? Just because you said that, now I'm finna tell you.
Now he
about
has to say.
I went to Tahoe. I took the family up to Lake Tahoe.
What a guy.
I love it.
What a good
I
dad.
love it. That is
It
a
was.
good dad.
I despised the drive, but
No kidding.
they convinced
man.
me.
I asked you
And-
why you drove. You
The
didn't.
drive is brutal.
You know, part of the reason why I drove is because I didn't know any better. You know, it was my first time doing it, so
Yeah.
you know, now I might reconsider. I think the way you do it,
Reno is not that far.
you fly
Either
to Reno, you get a rental, you get your food. I think that's the most important thing, because whatever I saved in not flying, I spent in food. So I'm gonna go to Costco the next time. We're gonna load up and then drive up to Reno. That's gonna be the change I had. But it was a blast, man. I needed to. I didn't really unplug because I was watching every game. My son loves the Padres. He loves Jackson Merrill. So I had to, every chance I got, or every chance he remembered, I had to, pull up the Padre game on my phone or at the house where we were staying. But it was a good time. Good family time. Now I'm recharged, ready for the stretch run of this exciting season.
Were you North or South Tahoe?
North Tahoe.
Ah, okay. That's where the Donner Party was closer to. Did you guys go to the Donner Party?
The Donner Party. What's that?
He doesn't know what that is.
You don't know what the Donner Party
You're
is?
just the weirdest guy on earth that only
What are you
thinks
talking
of
I grew up in
the disappearance of a family that was supposedly eaten by cannibals.
No,
up in the mountains of Lake
no,
Tahoe.
No, they ate themselves.
Oh, they ate themselves. Even
They
better.
were not eaten by cannibals.
Even
they had no
better.
other food. But this happened in like the 1850s. They were
Yes,
trying
Tony,
to do the
come
Oregon
on.
Trail thing. But no,
And
seriously.
why wouldn't he want to take his family to see that?
Hey, last time I was in North Tahoe, you know where I went? The Donner Party Memorial, okay? I wanted to see what was going on with the Donner
Of
Party.
course you did.
They have
Of course you
signs
did.
for it. I mean, Donner Summit is called that because they got
You're
stuck
so
there.
weird.
All right, I'm
So
over
weird.
it. But good trip, son. I'm glad you got to go on it.
Yeah. No,
After
it
I
was
say
good.
that.
It was good. So now
His kids are going to ask him, how come you didn't take us to see the Donner Party?
Well, they're not around anymore, but you
No,
can
well, yeah, no, it was a good time. I needed it. The fam needed it. So now I'm ready for some baseball. Ready for a good stretch run here, which I think is going to be pretty exciting. So, are we doing Daily Gambit? I forgot to ask you that.
No,
before
we're gonna
break.
we're gonna hold it till the next segment.
Okay.
But I like what's happening in baseball because we talked about the fact that they're in the race and how cool this is. Jesse mentioned it too, but I know it's still August, but it's fun to look at the scoreboard. And when you've got the Dodgers in Milwaukee tonight, right? You've got the Rockies in Arizona tonight. You've got Atlanta and San Francisco tonight. You got a lot of games that
Can
really
the Rockies
matter.
be helpful? Can they be helpful? I know they've been doing.
They
they've
took
been
2
doing
out
some,
of 3 from the Braves, so I don't know that
that doesn't
helped.
help anyone.
It helped. What do you
guess
mean it
kind
doesn't
of.
help anybody?
I just
You
don't
gotta beat
consider the Braves
out.
a part of the party anymore. They're
Yeah,
out of the
well,
Donner
it changes.
Party.
It changes.
Yeah, you better be
It
careful
changes
with that,
weekly,
Scrape.
Scraby. It changes weekly. The Padres, could go in a little bit of a, they're not going to go 16-3 the rest of the way. So to keep the Braves as far as bay as possible. But yeah, I don't know if the Rockies can beat the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are playing lights out. Josh Bell was the pickup of the century for them.
Yeah.
I wish Josh Bell, when he came here, did what he's doing there.
I knew you were gonna go there.
Yeah, because they lost Christian Walker, their slugging first baseman, to the injured list, and Josh Bell's filled right in without too much hesitation. So
Yeah. No, they're playing some exceptional ball, as
Yeah.
Jesse mentioned before.
But it's fun to look at the scoreboard. St. Louis is in action. I mean, you got a lot of teams that are in the hunt. It's fun. I think it's fun. I mean, this is, yes, would you like to win the division by 25 games? Sure, but that's not realistic. This is realistic, man, being right in the middle of the running.
that is every fan's dream, is
Yeah.
to have a 30-game lead,
Right.
with a month.
But then what would we do in September?
I was
We
gonna
wouldn't have
say,
any fun.
I love the drama. Like the drama is what I
you love
love
the drama
about the
now
season.
because the drama's going in your favor.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
I'm not that we're not that far removed from what was it, a couple months ago where it was like topsy-turvy and we were getting the angry Padres pen pal, not the happy Padres pen pal.
Yeah, AJ Preller was fired.
Right. So you know, baseball is it's a funny game. Week to week, take it in week increments. I think that's the best way to take it in. Right now, Padres flying very, very high.
Three straight weeks in a row of flying high. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned AJ Preller. Every time the Padres go into a slide, the please fire and never let us see AJ Preller tweets start coming out. But I've noticed during the last 3 weeks when they've gone 16-3, haven't seen very many of the man, AJ Preller really has been good this year tweets. Where are those?
Yeah,
let's be fair out there. If you want to rip the guy when he's down, rip him.
I've seen it.
But how about giving the guy a little credit for Martin Perez? How about giving him a little credit for Solano and Peralta? And then the obvious ones, you know, Cease and, you know, Arise and everything else. A.J. Preller's having a great season. It can happen, even if it's a guy you don't like. You should still acknowledge it out there, please.
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of the name of the game. You know, you're gonna get more credit than you probably deserve when it's going great. You're gonna get more blame that you probably deserve when it's going bad. But yeah, you don't hear a lot of that right now, and that's because, as I said, the Padres are playing high. Let's talk a little bit about Joe. What's your expectation for him today? First, it's a fascinating, and I don't know if we talked about it off air or on air. We were talking about Joe and what it was that he was trying to accomplish with some of the issues he had on. I mean, he basically had to kind of break down his whole pitching mechanics in order to try to alleviate some of the pain he was feeling in his elbow. And it sounds like he was able to do it. And I bring that up because it's not an easy thing to do. Most hitters, when they go into a struggle and they got to, like, break down their swing, that usually is an off-season plan where you can break it down from scratch and then build it back up. And this just speaks to Joe's his brain and how in tuned he is with his own body, that if he is able to actually pull this off, and it sounds like he has, it's remarkable because it's not easy to break down your pitching mechanics from where he had to break it down. I mean, we're talking about elbow issues. He's talking about having to get into his legs more. I mean, that's bottom up. And the fact that he's been able to get to this point where he's feeling pretty confident in his arm and his elbow, it's really a testament to him getting back. And, you know, hopefully it can remain, he can remain healthy the rest of the season, because it's a big get for the Padres having him, not even from a standpoint of what he's going to do, but just from a moral standpoint. This team is flying pretty high right now. You give them a shot of Joe Musgrove, I imagine that only enhances what's going on down there.
I'm thinking, can we get 5 innings tonight?
I'm thinking that he's
really
probably
be a big
on
ask.
like an 80 pitch count, maybe
so
even
he could
less.
get 5 innings if he goes, really,
I remember talking to him about this earlier. He was on a pitch count earlier in the year, and I think the first inning got away from him. And you could just tell, like, when a guy knows he has a certain amount of pitches, sometimes that forces you to have to be a little more perfect because you want to get deeper into the game. And I remember that first inning got away from him, and you could just tell, like, dang, I'm already coming out probably in the 4th or 3rd. And, it's just a competitive thing. And, I think he'll do fine. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe back on the mound today.
I think so. I mean, 4 innings would be fine. I think we might get to see Brian Hoying tonight. And Hoying has been great. He was a terrific interview the other day, Tony. We really enjoyed having him on Friday while you were gone. And, he's pitched well. This is a guy who got to pitch in the College World Series. I mean, he's been into some big-time stuff. I don't like – we didn't call him this. Scraby asked. Here's a classic, Tony.
Oh,
here's a classic.
Please describe this correctly. I have no idea where you're going
I got
with
a classic
this, too.
moment for you. It just came to me. Scraby goes, Do you think I should ask him how he felt about being the throw-in in the Tanner Scott trade?
That's not.
And I said, I don't think that would be the best way to
tell
go
me he
about
didn't.
that one.
Please tell me
No.
he didn't ask
Oh,
that.
God.
I
put the
didn't.
kibosh on that.
No, we did talk about it on the air because I wanted to know if it was rude or not.
Yes, it was
Because
rude.
when I asked Michael King, how does it feel to
know
be
if
the
it was-
main piece of a big trade, he was like, he wasn't
deflected.
comfortable. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
wasn't
deflected.
comfortable being the main piece. So I wanted to ask the other side, like, how does it feel to be a throw-in, quote unquote?
Tony,
But I
don't
never
let him
asked
get
it.
out.
I never asked it.
Tony, don't let him get out of this. He's
I
trying
never
He's
asked
trying to
it.
wiggle his
I
way
never
out of
asked
this.
it.
one.
I'm so glad Chris was there to tell you that wasn't a good idea to ask how does it feel to be a throw-in.
Hey, Brian Hoeing was great on Friday. He was amazing.
He
Yeah,
did
we
a
would have
great
never
job.
got him again. I know that.
Yes, that would have been the end of Brian Hoeing had you asked that question.
You're crazy.
You're the funniest guy
How
ever.
would I phrase that question in a way that's
You
not
just
rude?
don't even
Why do you
phrase
need
it.
to ask it?
Yes, it's not
Because I
phraseable.
wonder about that. Like, does it provide him more motivation? Is he just happy to be out of Miami and on a team in San Diego? Because he said he didn't expect to be traded, type of thing. I don't know. I didn't ask it, so there's nothing to report about.
And
Yeah,
we all lived for another day, thankfully.
That is too funny. That is too funny.
That's our guy. That's our guy. So, what'd you think of, speaking of drama, Tony, I got to get your take. Tom Cruise rappelling into the stadium last night to close out the Olympics. You watch that?
Oh, I gotta see
I didn't
this.
see it.
Oh, you didn't see it either?
I
No,
didn't
gotta
see it.
this.
Oh, my
I didn't
God.
see-
Tom Cruise, the action hero
He did like
of
a
all
Mission
time.
Impossible joint.
Mission Impossible's his way into the stadium and grabs the whatever it is you grab, and then they cut the film, and then he's in the Hollywood sign in Los Angeles because they get the next Olympics.
But I don't understand. So he supposedly jumped off in Paris and it ended up in L.A., right?
Well, you
don't
have
know.
to suspend reality for a moment here,
Yeah, I would assume so, Chris.
Yes.
Not even Tom Cruise can teleport.
but they're taking the Olympics from Paris to Los Angeles.
I just don't understand,
I did see-
why
I
Tom
did see that-
Cruise?
I did
He's
see
the
that
biggest
Snoop Dogg
movie
and
star
Dr.
in the
Dre
world.
performed.
Why not?
Sorry, Tony, your Drake conversation. Why not? I mean, is he the biggest movie star in the world right now?
Who's bigger?
You got me.
I say
It's not
that.
The Rock anymore, so.
The Rock.
Anyway, what were you saying
Please.
about Drake, Tony?
I didn't say anything about Drake.
Sorry.
I said Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre performed. I saw that.
Snoop Dogg was great the entire Olympics. I loved
Snoop
every
Dogg
minute
was
of
the
it.
Dog,
Olympics.
let me tell you, I don't know. We need to have him there every Olympics from this point on. When he did the, was it badminton?
Yes.
He did,
Oh, yeah.
I was literally
Badminton
on
play-by-play
I,
by Snoop Dogg.
I was on the floor as he was doing badminton play-by-play. On the floor.
It was really good. It was really funny.
Like you just can't.
NBC knew how big he was because they had him on as much as they possibly could.
Yeah, they did.
Every
they
time
did.
Mike Tirico turned around, there was Snoop Dogg. One time he was operating the camera. One time he was behind the scenes. He was sitting at the desk. There had to be more than one Snoop Dogg there.
He reportedly was getting like $500,000 a day there. So
Oh, my goodness.
they
Well, then he
used
better
him
operate the camera.
To say they used him in every which way they probably could at that point.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're gonna need you to be on the camera today for a little bit.
All right. Can't see
All right.
Snoop Dogg having a problem
Hey,
with too much stuff.
Guys, Chris Pratt, on average, brings in the most money to his movies. On
Chris
average,
Pratt from Jurassic World.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Avengers.
And how many people worldwide
not
know
Avengers.
Chris Pratt as opposed to Tom Cruise, would you say?
I think a lot of people know Chris Pratt.
More than
Tom
605
Cruise?
million.
More than
Is
Tom
my man
Cruise,
Tom
please.
has had
Come
some
on.
excellent work done.
Yes, he has, and he has the money for it too.
Yeah, he does. Ain't no joke about it.
He's got 200. Tom Cruise averages $273 million per movie, which is really good because he's done 43 movies. Samuel L. Jackson's number one just by sheer volume of number of movies.
How does that work? Like hey, we're getting Tom. Do we have his $247 million ready for when he does this movie?
I've heard of
47.
this. Tom doesn't like to work with studios anymore, so he puts up a lot of his own money for these movies now so that he could control everything in the movie.
Hey, when you got it, you got it.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Yes,
It's good
and
for
let's
him.
also remind everybody that every time you complain about an athlete making $30 million a year, nobody complains about Tom Cruise making $247 per picture.
Well, that's just the box office tickets. It's
All
not
I'm
what
saying saying is
taking
these
home?
movie stars
What do you think?
make an
What is he taking home?
extraordinary
You know?
amount of money.
Let me look at what he's Tom Cruise net worth.
Oh, God.
Well, that's not going to tell you what he's taking home per movie.
It's saying he's net worth $600 million. Okay, let me look that up real quick.
We don't
Hurry
even
up,
know.
will ya?
It's not that big a deal. Let's go ahead and get to break. You can look for it while we're in break.
Yes, we'll do a gambit next.
Oh, he earns according to geeksforgeeks.org.
You would know that website.
$20 million per movie, but can go as high as 25.
Geekspergeeks.org?
Geeksforgeeks.org. That was the first thing that popped up.
Wow. All right, let's get to break. Daily Gambit on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
I forgot to do this.
And some
This
traffic.
This is my bad. Here we go.
From the 97.3 The Fan.
All right, 3:21 is the time. Welcome back, Gwynn and Chris. Tony stepped away for a minute. He'll be back with us at the bottom of the hour. We're doing a Padres PPP, otherwise known as Padres Pen Pals. Got a lot of Padre questions out there. You think all of them are really positive. Not the case. People are still worried. 16-3, still a lot to be worried about. Padres go into it tonight against the Pirates. 3.5 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. Arizona is tied with the Padres, the exact same record. 66-53. Diamondbacks are home to the Colorado Rockies tonight. Elsewhere, Dodgers are in Milwaukee. And the Padres right now are 4.5 clear of the Mets for the final wild card spot. I'll tell you, the team that's sneaking up on everybody quietly is the Giants.
Yeah.
We're watching the Padres and the Diamondbacks. The Giants have gone 2 games over 500, and they've done it because Robbie Ray's back, Blake Snell is back in form, Logan Webb is good, and all of a sudden, here they come. It is very possible, Scraby, that when it's over, all 4 of those teams from the National League West could be in the playoffs. They could get all 3 wild card spots in the NL West this year. It could very easily happen the way things are going right now. But let's just worry about what the Padres have to worry about, and that is Joe Musgrove back on the mound tonight for the first time in 77 days. That in mind, let's get into a little of today's Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris. Man, I just did it, Chris. Just read what was right on my piece of paper. The Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Yes, I did that.
You're a classic.
We did not. We made bets last week, but I think it was on Thursday, so I personally did not go and review
Yeah, we don't have
them.
anything to recap, really.
Yeah, so we're going to go into today with some bets. I have a same-game parlay for tonight, but I'm not ready to present it yet, Chris, so you can go ahead and we can come back
you got
to
a
me.
little same-gamer coming up.
Same-gamer, that's what they say.
Same-gamer.
Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile, and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch.
Before we get to the Gambit, how much preseason football would you say you watched last week? Week 1 of the NFL preseason, starting Thursday night through yesterday afternoon. I believe there were games every day. A couple on Thursday, a couple on Friday, a bunch on Saturday, a couple yesterday. How much total did you watch of NFL preseason football, would you say?
Whatever was on in the studios here when we were in studio on Thursday.
That's it.
Well, it was really hard to find some of the games.
I don't blame you.
I don't care about... I'm trying to think of 2 random teams. I don't care about the
I don't think
Colts.
there's a bigger waste of time in all of sports than the NFL preseason.
Yeah, I couldn't find the 49ers. I watched the Chargers, and the Chargers were awful.
So you watched more than I thought now.
Okay, when I say I watched the Chargers, I watched a drive of the Chargers.
No, you beat me.
Yeah, okay.
I honestly couldn't watch it. I whatever was on in the studio Thursday, and then that's it. I don't even know who the 49ers played this weekend, nor
the
does
Titans.
it. Okay. And anything?
They lost.
Oh.
I think.
Dolphins beat the Falcons. I should go rub it in Adam Klug's ear.
How did they do that?
I can't imagine how. I think the Falcons probably played their 4 stringers, and so did the Dolphins. So, care. The NFL preseason is the biggest ripoff in all of sports. And there's a lot of ripoffs in sports. I mean, whether, overcharging and parking prices.
Regard?
Yeah. Parking prices.
You're paying full price for a preseason game.
Yeah. How much you pay for beers.
Full price.
But I mean, just to have to when you buy a season ticket, pay for a preseason football game, ought to be unconstitutional. Honestly, somebody ought to put it up before the Supreme Court and let's get it done. Come on,
did the
do
preseason
do something important?
Was it just because I was a kid, or did the preseason used to mean something?
No, because back in the day, guys played. Not the full game, but at least they played some. So you'd see some position battles. You'd see the starters play a little bit. You'd see let's say Brock Purdy might throw a touchdown to Deebo Samuel. You might say, hey, they look pretty good. Or, Christian McCaffrey was running the ball hard. But now they absolutely take no chances with any of these guys.
Yeah.
Nor do I blame them. But then they shouldn't be, preseason just shouldn't be allowed.
I agree.
Padres are a 1.5 favorite over the Pirates tonight. Scraby, do they keep it going?
Padres are a 1.5 favorite over the... Yes.
San Diego Padres.
Yes.
Beat them 3 straight last week. Pirates also then went to L.A. and lost 3 straight.
Yeah, they had a bad week.
They've hit the skids.
Are you saying Padres then?
Of course.
Okay.
Over under 8 runs tonight.
Ooh.
That's going to be a tough call. Musgrove, I think, goes 3 or 4, on the pitch count. Pirates are going with an opener, I believe. Jake Woodford is starting. I don't know that he's necessarily one of their regular rotation guys. So I think there'll be a lot of bullpen guys tonight. Give us a few extra runs. I'll say over.
Woodford starting?
That's what it said here.
Oh, I have Marco Gonzalez.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So I've seen both, honestly. I'm not really sure.
Interesting.
I'll have to look at the official
Because we do have a
baseball
lineup out right now for the Padres, and Manny Machado's not in it. We'll get into that in a second. But
okay.
I'm just making sure on MLB.com today. It says Woodford on MLB.com, so I'm going to have to go with MLB.com here.
You're going to go with that? Let's see what it says here. It says Woodford here in the official baseball lineup. So, yeah. Woodford.
I can't stand your...
I'm so glad that you disagreed with me just so I could, tell you that you're wrong.
Website.
Yeah, just tell you that you're wrong. All right. What are you going? Woodford against Musgrove. Over, under?
I say the Padres have been scoring a bunch of runs, so I... think it's gonna continue. So over, yes.
All right, Shota Imanaga.
What did you say? Under?
I said over.
Sorry.
Shota Imanaga, the Cubs. One of those great rookies of the year that's ahead of that's ahead of Jackson Merrill.
Yep. On
Bradford Doolittle's list. He's pitching in Cleveland against the Guardians tonight. Shota over under 6 1/3 innings pitched. Scraby.
Cleveland.
Guardians.
6 1/3, huh?
6 1/3 over under
6 2/3.
Yes, he does.
I'm gonna say under.
He's not gonna make it. 6 is as much as Shota was a wonderful flash in the pan in April and May, and he's still 9-2.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So I'm not gonna take everything away from him.
When I was in Chicago, the big deal was that he brought a iced coffee to a reporter, and they made a huge deal about that.
That was a nice thing he did.
It was.
All right. Dodgers, Milwaukee, 8 runs. 8 runs tonight.
Dodgers, Milwaukee.
Over under Dodgers, Brew Crew. Pitching for the Brew Crew, Peralta. Pitching for the Dodgers, the Hall of Famer, Clayton Kershaw. Boy, Kershaw's he's been
seen better days.
He's been scuffling. He's definitely been scuffling.
Am I up?
No, I'm up. Okay. I'm going to go under. I say Kershaw limits tonight.
I think the Brew Crew have won 5 or 6 in a row.
They're having a great year.
I'm going to say over.
These two teams, would you say over?
Yep.
One of the interesting battles going on right now is for the best overall record in baseball. There's like 6 teams separated by like a game and a half for the best overall record in baseball.
Wow.
Orioles, Yankees, Guards, Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers. They're all really, really close together. And no team is on pace to win 100 games this year.
Really?
Which is an interesting note.
That is interesting.
Yankees and White Sox are playing tonight.
Oh, no.
The mismatch of all mismatches. In Chicago, the Yankees are only favored by 1.5 runs.
I think that's just the general.
Is there something wrong with it? Well, you could go 2.5 runs.
That's a lot of runs, Chris.
Well, you only have to give 1.5. Are you going to buy it? It almost seems like too easy of a bet.
I just think the White Sox have given up, so I'm going to say Yankees.
Going to say the Yankees. I got to say the Yankees, too. White Sox have lost 23 of their last 24 games.
Yeah.
They're going to finish with the worst record in the history of the sport, and frankly, I'm rooting for them to do it. I wasn't really around for the 62 Mets. I want to say I saw the worst team in baseball history.
The only thing I don't like about it is that Steven Wilson's still stuck there.
Well, you're going to have to get over that.
I will.
All right, here's a good one to wrap up our predictions
I got my parlay.
tonight. All right, then your parlay. Tonight, Braves and Giants in San Francisco. Listen to this pitching matchup. Chris Sale, Blake Snell.
Wow.
Which lefty strikes out more? I go first.
They're both strikeout guys, too.
They are. Snell has been just erasing hitters lately.
Can he please start a season and maybe no one will have trouble paying him $30 million a year if he can do this all season?
Yeah, it still seems like the Giants have been gypped off by what they paid Snell, considering, he's doing it now.
I mean,
but
he threw
where
a
was he
no-hitter?
He's unbelievable. He cannot be touched again. Chris Sale hasn't been able to be touched pretty much all year.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with our guy, Blake Snell. More strikeouts.
Me too. He's feeling
You're
it.
saying it was staying with Snell. Okay.
He's feeling it.
I think that would be a really good game tonight.
All right, my parlay real quick. Plus 650 for the Padres. Over 4.5 Joe Musgrove strikeouts.
Wow.
Don't know why I feel this way, but I do.
Over 4.5?
Yeah.
Boy, I hope you're right there. I think you're going to lose that one.
Over 0.5 Jake Cronenworth single. Let me just make sure he's still in the lineup today. Yes, he is. Over 0.5 for Jake Cronenworth single. Over 0.5 for Jake Cronenworth RBI. So he needs a hit and an RBI plus 5 Joe Musgrove strikeouts.
I don't think you're going to get the strikeouts.
I know. That's the hardest part. I mean, Jake also is.
You need an RBI single from Jake.
What did I
why
just
is
do?
Manny Machado not in the lineup tonight? Do you have news on this?
No, I think it's just a day off.
Day off. Rise is DHing. Solano's at third base. That doesn't hurt anybody's feelings.
No. Higashioka's there. Kim, Peralta, Merrill, all the regulars.
All the regulars except for Manny tonight against the
Kevin
Bucks.
AC real quick.
See if there's any news on that. We'll take a break, come back with our Padres pen pals. Tony Gwynn Jr. is back as well. Gwynn and Chris is back as well.
It is Woodsy, a.k.a. your Aqua Alarm. Is your tap water friend or foe? EcoWater SoCal's 100th anniversary gift to you is a free in-home water test. This is a pass-fail endeavor, guys. Imagine pure, delicious water from every faucet. It is totally possible. My family
Going to Petco Park tonight. I got your dinner plans for you. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's. Authentic Mediterranean cuisine, not only in Coronado and La Jolla, but also at Petco Park. Right there on the main concourse, third base line near the Western Metal Supply Company building. Spiro's. Everybody's place for the best Greek food. Dining takeout options, spiroscuisine.com. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris. Padres lost yesterday. You know the old saying, you're only as good as your last at bat. Well, then the Padres stink.
Kind of. I mean,
yeah.
I guess
their
they
lost
struck
game.
out.
They lost to one of the worst teams in baseball yesterday. What's that all about?
I don't know.
16-3, including that loss yesterday. It's only the best 19-game stretch in franchise history. Can they keep it going? We'll find out tonight against the Pirates. First, let's find out what some of the fans are thinking with a round of Chris and Tony
pen pals, you mean?
and Matt's Padre pen pals after traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Most of our problems are in the North County this afternoon, guys. One of them is this collision on South 5 Coastline near Las Flores. A couple vehicles over to the right shoulder. We've also got a collision on the northbound side of the 5, right before Carmel Mountain Road. A couple vehicles involved in this one. It's in the center divide. Traveling on northbound 15 before Valley Parkway. We have reports of a crash involving a car and a motorcycle. That's in the center divide. And collision on the Miramar Road on-ramp to southbound 15. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we got some positive Padres pen pals today. We've also got some nervous
You don't
Padres
say.
pen pals today.
Nervous?
There's a couple topics being brought up in this whole thing, so let's just get right into it because I think the people have provided us with some good topics for today. There we go. Got the writing going. First one. I know it's fun to win a bunch in a row, and it's fun to see the Padres come back again and again, but yesterday proved what I've been telling all my friends. This is not sustainable! Starting pitching has not been great recently. They gave up 15 earned runs in the road trip, which doesn't sound like a lot. But Jurickson Profar said these wins have been exhausting. Chris, should we care pitching has struggled while the bats... Or should we care... Yes, sorry. Should we care pitching has struggled while the bats are hot?
Yes, I think we should find as many negatives about this 16-3 streak as we can, just to cause us as much stress as possible. I don't understand these people. I mean, they're playing unbelievable baseball. No, we should not worry about it. The pitching was not great against the Marlins. I will say that. Cease had a bad game. Waldron had, for him, a bad game. The way they're playing right now, it almost seemed like they were spotting them the 4 or 5 run lead just for fun, just for the sport of it. See if they could come back, and they did in one game. They almost did in the other. I have no complaints about what's happening right now, I have to say. So,
Tony, should we care pitching has struggled while the bats are hot?
Should we care?
Yep.
I think it's okay to care.
Okay.
But we shouldn't be making anything of it, though. I mean, they had a bad 3-game set. That simple.
That they won
Pittsburgh,
2 games.
Pittsburgh, how did they pitch in that series?
they had a 9-8 game in the middle of that, but that was extra innings where a lot of runs were scored in extra innings. They didn't pitch unbelievable on this road trip, but they hit. I mean, that's the idea. I mean, plus, if you get a 4-run lead yourself, you can pitch differently and give up some runs.
Here's a question. What is the objective?
I thought it was to win.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, whether they pitched good enough, hit good enough, because It's certainly been the other way. I didn't hear anybody complaining, right, where the pitching has been the dominant
Well, I mean,
thing.
this kind of question is, this is asked by somebody who's only going to be content if they win all 43 of their remaining games and sweep the playoffs. I mean,
43. No,
whatever.
they can't just
Come
win
on.
it. They can't just win all 43. They got
They got to shut out their
shut
opponent.
It down, and they got to put up 5.
I mean, the other teams, yes, it would be nice. We'll pass that along to Mr. Schilt.
Okay.
Be nice.
All right, let's go to the next one. I saw the Giants demoted Camilo Doval, and I think Yuki Matsui may benefit from something like that. He gave up the lead twice in this road trip, and even though I didn't think this before, he did actually have a stretch of at least 5 or 6 games without giving up a run. So, Tony, why do you think the Padres keep using Matsui in high-leverage situations?
Well, I think they are. Estrada's not throwing the ball that well right now, and so Tanner Scott, is not throwing the ball all that well. And so I shouldn't say all that well. He hasn't come in and been the 0.76 ERA dude, right?
Yeah.
And so I think you're trying to find ways to supplement when guys aren't throwing the ball as well. Tanner's got back on track. It looked like his last couple outings have been better. Estrada is, if we're being honest, I don't think Estrada has looked the same since he had the sickness where he missed. He just hasn't been quite as dominant as he was before then. And so I think that's why Yuki has had to go in there. And now that may change, right? I think Adam has been terrific in his outings. Suarez continues to do him. Morty Hone has been okay. But, outside of, I think, Adam and Suarez, no one is really lights out right now. I would say Hoying's been pretty good in his times out too.
Yeah.
But everybody else is kind of just, they're not at their top level right now. And so you can't hold the bullpen down with just 2 guys. And they haven't had to. I'm not sitting here saying that. But, I think that's just kind of part of how you try to piece it together until hopefully you get on a run again where everybody's throwing the ball well again.
Chris, why do you think the Padres keep using Matsui in high-leverage situations?
Because they have to right now. Tony just explained it. If you sent down every reliever that was going through a tough stretch, you'd have to send every reliever down.
Right.
I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. These guys are not going to go out there and not give up a run every time they pitch. We've talked about it before. Offenses need to tack on runs as games go along to give the bullpen a little breathing room. Having said that, I hope and I think Mike Schilt learned his lesson last week in the game in Pittsburgh, because as you remember, I was critical of this, Scraby. I didn't think they should have left Matsui in with a 1-run lead to face 2 right-handed hitters in the middle of the Pittsburgh lineup when he had Jason Adam ready, which he did that day. Bart hit the home run. I think that could have been avoided. But for the most part, Matsui's pitching right now because he's better than a lot of the other guys have been. And, that home run he gave up was only the 3rd one all year. So it's not like he's been knocked around as badly as people think.
It's a good point. When I think I know something, I go look at the stats, and I don't know. I'm actually opposite of what actually I think. So anyway, next one is going to be this, and I was asked to play a sound effect during this. So the person writes, Garrett Crochet.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yes, you did.
So I'm this person is saying, I'm so happy I'm trying to find the bet again. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'm so happy the Padres did not sell the farm for a guy who would rather play the Josh Hader game than, play baseball. My question is this. Say a team did trade for Crochet. Here's how since the beginning of July, he's gone 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2 1/3 innings, and taken 3 L's, has an ERA of 8.11 in the same time. Chris, do you think he even has anything left in the tank this season?
No, I think the White Sox should shut him down, and I think they probably will shut him down. I think the only reason they probably haven't shut him down right now is because they're trying desperately to avoid being the worst team in the history of baseball. They need to win, I believe, 15 of their last 43 games to beat out the 62 Mets. They're hoping that Crochet can help them do that. But I'm so glad Garrett Crochet came out and said what he said. Because if the Padres were thinking about taking a run at this guy, I never liked the idea in the first place. And he made it clear to everybody that he was the wrong guy to go get. And, yeah, he's stuck there in the South Side. Good for him.
Tony, do you think that Garrett Crochet has anything left in the tank this season?
In the tank, does he have enough to
like,
get
if he were to be traded to the Padres, would he be...
Tomorrow.
Yeah, would he be starting games, going 7 innings?
No, he wasn't doing that when he was before he said the comments. If I'm not mistaken, he wasn't going deep in the ball games. And so, yeah, man, listen, I hope he's happy in Chicago because he has earned the congratulations, you played yourself. I mean, from the moment, and whether it was him or his agent, ultimately it falls on him because the agent works for you. You don't work for the agent. You should be telling him what you want to be said, not the other way around. So I assume that he wanted this. Maybe he's happy in Chicago. Maybe, being on the South Side is where it's at. I don't have nothing against it. Maybe, I don't know. But to answer your question, no, I don't think he would. I think he'd be doing the exact same thing he was doing before his agent said so.
Where is he from? I'm looking right now. Mississippi, so close to home, I guess.
He's close, yeah.
All right, let's get to the last
He
one.
might be pitching in Mississippi if he keeps this up.
I almost knew that was coming.
Bro, what is Kim doing out there? This year defensively has not been as good as what we saw last year from him. The play for me that made me yell, bro, was when he cut off Jake to get the ball, and then he spun and he threw it to first, which Arise could not dig out. But anyway, he didn't need to cut Jake off. Tony, do you think Kim is trying too hard?
Do I think he's trying too hard? No, I don't think he's trying too hard. I don't think he's having as good of a defensive season as he did last year. I think anybody who's watching these games can see that. But, I definitely think he's trying. Is that a real question? Yes, he's trying.
Trying too hard. Trying to make things happen.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's trying to make... You know what? Maybe. There might be some element to that. I think he's gotten better as the year has gone on in terms of his defense, I think. But it hasn't... Whoever wrote this is right. It hasn't been the same level defensively as he had last year that got him a Gold Glove.
Chris, yes, that's your name. Do you think Kim is trying too hard?
Bro! Listen to me!
Stop yelling
The
at me.
play that he's talking about was a bouncer over the second base bag. Kim fielded the ball because his momentum was going toward first base. Had he let it go, Cronenworth might have grabbed the ball, but he would have been running into short left field because his momentum was going away from first base. That was every bit the right play to make, and the throw was on target. Arise dropped it, and Arise got the error. So, bro, if you're going to be critical of Kim, at least be critical on a play that he messes up. That was not one that he messed up. And when in doubt, always be critical of Kim's base running because he ran us out of yet another inning Saturday in Miami by trying to tag up and go from second to third with 2 outs and made the last out at third base. And I shook my head like I always do.
There is left of something to be desired sometimes with the baseball.
All right,
you live and you learn.
Padres pen pals. Thanks to everybody who submitted.
But thanks for the question, bro.
I can imagine someone being like, "Bro, what are you doing?"
Nah, it was a good play that the guy was upset about there.
I don't know.
Arise dropped the ball.
I don't know
that one.
I don't ask for qualifications.
Yeah,
I just ask for the questions.
I know.
All right, that's it for Padres pen pals. Up next, Chris versus the fans.
Come get me. 833
Carrie Underwood tickets qualification to Vegas on
good
the
stuff.
line.
833-288-0973 if you want to play trivia.
Padres Pirates today.
And here we go at 4 o'clock. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Hello. Tony Gwynn Jr. He's down at Petco Park. He and Jesse Agler have the call. Tonight's game, Padres and Pirates. Gets underway shortly after 6:30. No Joe. Joe Musgrove returns to the mound for the Padres. His first outing in 77 days. He joins a Padre team that has won a remarkable 16 of its last 19 games. Why is that remarkable? Well, it matches the best 19-game stretch in franchise history. Padres have been playing baseball, Scrabe, for 55 years. It's the best 19-game stretch they've ever had, and we've got to enjoy all of it. Hopefully they'll keep it going tonight because the race in the National League West is tight. Dodgers are on top. They will be in Milwaukee tonight. Diamondbacks, Padres both 3.5 back. Diamondbacks are home to the Rockies. A little bit later on this evening, a little Chris versus the fans coming up here. Play some trivia, a chance to qualify for a grand prize. 2-night stay, Resorts World Las Vegas. 2 tickets to Carrie Underwood Reflection. Actually, I think you get to see Carrie Underwood, not just a reflection. It's at Resorts World Theater by overwhelming demand. Carrie Underwood extends her Las Vegas residency Reflection through spring of 2025. If you want tickets for 2024 or 2025, they're on sale now at axis.com. That's AXS.com. Also, rwlasvegas.com. Or you can win a pair here in that classic radio game show known as Chris versus the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Chris, I actually have one more prize to add to the game right now.
Really?
Yes.
Going to throw in a bonus.
Yes, because I forgot to put it in the sheet.
Oh.
So, if you win Chris versus the Fans today, you will win that qualification to Las Vegas to see Carrie Underwood, who I do sing her song in my head like every 5 minutes now.
Which one?
I dug my key into
Stop
the
digging your key into the side of
car.
her pretty little souped-up four-wheel drive.
You see, you know the words.
I know the words too, yeah.
You will win a pair of tickets to Def Leppard and Journey at Petco Park August 30th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. So
don't stop believing. You can win Journey tickets. Oh my God! People are just changing. People are scrambling for the button on their radio to.
You know what people tell me?
Change the station. Stop singing.
You know what people say? Like, how could you sing on the air? Because you're not a good singer, and I know that I'm not a good singer. I'm like, that's the lowest of the bother things. Like, it's when I go and say crazy things. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, singing on the station is not a biggie for you.
No, not at all.
All right, give us the rules, please.
You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. If Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. Chris versus the Fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. All right, let's get to our first contestant. I feel like we have a few first-time players today.
Let's see.
So let's go with Bert to start it out. Hey, Bert, how are you doing?
Tip top. How are you doing?
Tip
top. Very
like
good,
that.
Bert. A
I
reference
like
to the famous introduction by the old morning show there with Dave and Shelley and those guys.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah, every time everybody asks Dave Rickards how he's doing, he always say tip top.
Is this where you got this,
Is that where
Bert?
you got that, Bert? Do you know?
Probably.
Bert's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's just play ball here.
All right, Bert. Are you ready to play?
He's ready.
If you are a first-time player, let us know before you can get into it, and you get the first question for free.
All right. He would have.
Okay, he didn't. All right, Bert, here we go. I tried. Out of these 3 players, which did not hit 10 or more World Series home runs?
It's the number 1?
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Okay.
Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio. Out of these 3 players, which did not hit 10 or more World Series home runs?
Did not. I don't think that's easy.
Should I ask another
Mickey
question?
Mantle.
You said Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. Maybe it wasn't as easy as
Well, Mickey Mantle hit the most World
Yeah,
Series
yeah,
home runs,
yeah.
so it wasn't him. I'm going to assume the Babe did it, so I'll say Joe D. Be my answer.
Do I need to give him another question or
No, it's
I'm
luck of the
sorry
draw.
about that, Bert.
Sorry, Bert. Your line
feel like
drive, your line drive hit the top of the fence and caromed off the left fielder and went over for a double. What can I tell you?
If only they would fix the padding.
There's some
Chris.
bad breaks out there.
If only they would.
That
fix
was a
the
bad
padding.
break. Tough question though for a number one. I'm just
Okay.
saying, it's all right. It happens.
All right,
Bert, try
All right.
again. You might get
Well,
an
look.
easier one next time.
Chris, I have my fancy, amazing sports trivia
Yes.
book back out. So
I know you do.
Some of these questions are coming from that book. Let's get to our next contestant. Chris, give me a number 1 through 6.
I'm going to give you a 4.
All right, 4 is Dwayne. Dwayne, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too
Good
much.
to have you on, Dwayne.
You ready to play?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. How long? This is a question number 1. Bert's going to be so mad at me. How long is one period in an NHL game?
It's not a gimme for
15
everybody.
minutes?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Sorry, Dwayne.
Yeah, it's 20. Sorry about that, Dwayne. Tough one.
All right.
That's a tough one for some people. People don't know hockey. You know, it's the funny thing. That's like the old story. If you would have ever asked, right? Remember when we said how long is a shift in a hockey game? And you and Tony
yeah,
both
it
said
was
3
like-
minutes, 4
I
minutes.
was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like 50 seconds.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I go to number 6 down there. All the
6.
way at the bottom. I
Bobby.
say.
Hello, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Very good,
Pretty
sir.
Good.
Very good.
You ready to play?
Quick thing. So
Yeah.
my baseball field had a yellow line on the outfield, and if the ball hit that yellow line, it was a home run.
Right.
So that fence would have had some sort of paint on it. That would have been a home run.
Okay,
That
so
I will agree with.
is
If
it
they
a
had a big
local
fat
rule?
yellow, if they had a big fat yellow line, and then that was the ground rule, the ball hits the yellow line, it's a home run. But they didn't have a yellow line, so the ground rule there is that the ball has to be over the fence.
Because each park can have different rules,
Yes,
right?
they
It's a
all have
local
different
rule.
ground rules.
All right, well, we
Yeah.
need to petition Miami to get a little yellow line on top of their wall.
Bobby's
okay?
still trying to get a victory.
Hey,
yesterday.
Bobby, I appreciate that because
Yeah.
he brought proof that there are other
Yes,
baseball
he did.
fields that have
Brought
yellow
something
lines.
yes, the yellow line is a factor. Petco Park could use a yellow line if you really want to know.
It would be really ugly.
Be ugly, but along right field, the top of that is difficult to tell whether that's a
True.
home run or not.
True.
And if you had a line drive to the same spot that Kim hit that one yesterday at Petco Park, the very same thing could happen at Petco Park. Easily. Ball could hit the top, bounce off a fielder,
Sorry,
and go
Bobby,
over.
hold on. Because if that happened,
That would be a double at Petco Park.
it would be, but it would make sense to me because it wouldn't have ever left the park.
But this never left the park either. It hit the fence and bounced back.
You're right.
And then it
I'm
went
not gonna
over
argue this
by the
anymore.
anyway. Bobby, play the game.
Sorry, Bobby. Here we
Sorry,
go.
Bobby.
Question number
We
one.
digress.
I've had people send me pictures of the wall.
Oh, I know. People are, like you're going to change something.
You
The
know
game
what?
is over.
I am an easy person to get on board with stuff like this, but not today. All right, Bobby. If you were playing golf and on a par 4 you have a score of of 3, what is that called?
Oh, man, I suck at golf. Oh, so I'm never going to get that. I think it's at a bogey.
A bogey.
Oh no! Apparently the number 1 questions are not working today, Chris. You know what this is.
I get them all the time.
No, you don't.
Oh, birdie. I will
Sorry,
say this:
Bobby.
when we get a birdie, we stop the round and congratulate each other.
Yes, you should because those
Yes.
are very rare.
Very tough to get.
I've
for
only
us
had
players.
2 birdies, maybe a handful of times in a round. I've had 3 birdies once.
Yeah, birdies are fun to get, but you got to hit like all perfect shots to get that.
Yeah, it's tough.
I say 3.
3, Evan.
I'm just picking out people that are not getting the questions right so far.
Evan, hello.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
All right, Evan, change our luck here. Let's go.
Here we go. Question number 1.
Let's go.
How many majors are played during one golf season?
That would be 4.
4.
Yeah, here we go.
We're into question number 2.
We're rolling now.
Here we go. Georgia was ranked number 1 in the first college football rankings released today. What team was number 2?
Ohio State.
Ohio State is correct.
The Ohio State University.
Isn't our guy from Carlsbad High School playing at Ohio State now?
I don't remember where he ended up going.
I think he
started
is.
at Alabama, and then he changed his mind, or Nick Saban left, or something.
Julian Sayin.
Yeah.
I think he is an Ohio State
Don't
guy.
recall what Julian. All I know is Julian didn't go to San Diego State. That's all I know.
Okay,
I was
here we
hoping,
go,
I hope he throw a little
you
love
hope
on his
he's going to
local.
throw away Alabama
Yeah,
and
right.
Ohio State.
Exactly.
All right, question number 3.
For the title, Evan.
What recently passed away Major League Baseball Hall of Famer finished his career with 3,005 hits?
That's a tough question, I think. But he recently passed away.
I
Mike.
added a hint.
Recently passed away?
Yes.
Recently passed away. There's only been 30.
Well, I can already tell that Chris knows the answer, so that's not good.
That's not good. 33 guys have done it. So you got a 1 out of
Gonna
33
need an answer.
shot.
I'm going to say Willie Mays, even though I'm pretty sure he had way more than that.
That might be right.
Willie Mays is correct.
You nailed it.
Wow.
Very good.
Nice job, Evan.
And let me ask you just real quick. How many hits did you say Willie Mays had?
This is from Baseball Reference, 3,005?
Yeah. Willie Mays had 3,293. So I'm not sure where you got this from.
I'm honestly asking, did he have any time in the Negro Leagues that weren't included in these stats?
Very much possible.
Okay.
Very much possible.
Because I looked very much possible.
Yeah.
Because I looked
They might
at
have
Baseball
added to his
Reference,
total with the Negro League stats.
But that would only be like, that would be 100 and something
That
hits.
might be a couple hundred. Anyway, it's good enough for me.
Where did I get
I'm looking up
3,000?
Willie Mays right now to see how many Major League Baseball hits he had. And he had 3,293.
Why
He
did
played
I
3,005 games.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
We don't care, Evan. We don't care if Matt is completely wrong because he's often wrong. What we care about is you came up with the guy who died recently. So that's good
Basically.
enough to be correct and win today's Chris versus the fans.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
At
Willie
least I
Mays
had the
had
right
way more
number
hits
of
than that.
games he played.
Yeah, he had more than I knew he had more. When you said Willie Mays, I thought he was right because he recently died, but I didn't think the number was right for Willie Mays. You know, I was going to guess somebody different, but it doesn't matter. Willie's good
that
enough.
question's been in there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, well,
and
it was wrong.
Should have never happened.
Flat out wrong.
Should have never even
Can I
made it the
tell
light
ya?
of day. All right.
Can I
Good
tell
job,
ya?
Evan.
All right, good job, Evan. Stay on the line. Matt Scraby will get to you. Make sure he takes your information down carefully because he's liable to screw that up as well. More Gwynn and Chris is coming up. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you my tweet that I sent out that got a record number of likes this weekend. I seem to have a little support in this Jackson Merrill for Rookie of the Year thing. We'll find out more about that when Gwynn and Chris rolls on.
From the
rather win 6-6, obviously. Grind out the final game, but good road trip. Come back here for 3 games, try to dominate.
As far as what you were able to accomplish, how locked in do you feel? How fun was it to be able to come up in those situations? And it seemed like you just believed as much as anybody else that you were going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to one of my teammates the other day, and I kind of said that along the course of the year, I've kind of learned that playing for the win is more beneficial to my game than just playing for myself. I feel like I've played to win, and it's changed my mentality completely on this game and the family that I built in here. So, just going out every day and having fun, trying to dominate and win, that's all it's taking right now.
That is the guy that Bradford Doolittle of ESPN rated 6th in his current NL Rookie of the Year rankings. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. 4:20 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Matt Scraby. I tweeted that out on Saturday morning, Scraby.
Mm-hmm.
You're proud of me because I included a photo of Jackson Merrill, which means I had to do a little extra work, rather than just typing in a tweet.
I saw the photo, yes.
I incorporated a photo in there.
Yes.
What I said is how these experts can even look themselves in the mirror is ... Like, it's almost beyond words that somebody could be an expert and work for a supposedly reputable, spot, ESPN. I consider them to be pretty reputable, but you write something like this, 6th. Anyway, Matt Scraby replied. He was one of 577 people to do so.
Wait, you had 577 replies?
No,
or likes?
I'm sorry. I got likes. But
I
got
did reply.
I got a lot of replies. You replied and said, you sent me a GIF
of a corgi.
Tapping his paws up and down on the grass, looking at the camera going, "Are we rioting?" I don't know where you came up with that.
I spend far too much time trying to find the perfect GIF.
That was a funny one. Nando said Bradford fool little. Probably didn't even bother to check out the stats.
Oh, gosh.
He also swore.
Okay.
Tom Aztec for life. Sounds like Doolittle is a complete. He swore. Let's see. Almost everybody swore here. Some of these are, East Coast bias. A lot of that. Well, he does work for ESPN. I got a lot of replies. Bradford Doolittle, a guy who has 2 last names. Some people tried to make fun of that. Here's one I like from Radio H. Fryer. More like Bradford do nothing. Instead of Doolittle, do nothing. Thought that was kind of cute. It was cute. Wasn't bad.
And to put this on the record, I have tried to get him on.
Yes,
the show.
We tried to get him on today, and he just didn't get back to us.
I'm not going to say that he might be on vacation. He might be busy.
We're not saying
he
he's
might text
avoiding
me tomorrow.
Us. Andrea had a very interesting take on his name. Hey, Bradford, do more. Ha ha.
Wow.
Very good, Andrea. Very good. Anyway, people were really upset, Padre fans, and I think you kind of have a right to. This is just it's one guy's opinion, but I just don't get it. And Scraby and I talked about it at length last week. If you want to put Skeens ahead of him, it's, I get it. Skeens is Skeens. He's the biggest story in baseball this year. Started the All-Star game. He's been really, really good. But I can't give it to you when you're putting Mason Wynn and Shota Imanaga and Michael Bush and Tyler Fitzgerald all ahead of Jackson Merrill. And this was on Thursday that this article came out. Now, I grant you, since then, Jackson Merrill's stock has risen even more because he hit 2 more game-tying home runs after this came out. But before this came out, he'd already hit 3 of them. Now he's hit 5 of them. His impact on this season has been undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he leads every rookie in every offensive category is undeniable. Here's the only category he doesn't lead in. WAR. That's the only one that he doesn't lead in. Guess who leads there? Mason Wynn. Guess who's next? Michael Bush. This is apparently the only thing I can think of as to how Bradford Doolittle put his rankings together. And
it does follow like the rankings follow the WAR stat.
A little bit, yeah, very much so. And so, if you're going to put Tyler Fitzgerald in there, the guy hit 11 home runs in 24 games. It's impressive, no question about it. He was on pace for 80 home runs. but he only played 24 games. You can't give it to him over a guy that's been in center field every single day this year. And Paul Skeens, in the last 8 days, while Jackson Merrill has been winning NL Rookie of the Week, Paul Skeens has pitched 4 innings.
Yeah. Is that all he went?
Whatever, 3 or 4, whatever he did the other night. My point is, that's what Paul Skeens has done, and this is what anyway. I'm preaching to the choir because we're right here in the middle of San Diego, where I think most everybody is probably nodding their head in agreement. But I guess we've all taken it upon ourselves now to take it a little personally. That we're getting overlooked, and he's getting overlooked here.
And you know what? We're the only ones who feel that way. It doesn't. Jackson Merrill has said many times he does not care.
Told us on our very show during our interview with him 10 days ago.
He does not care.
He didn't say he didn't care. He said that he'd much rather win a World Series.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
He also said that he wouldn't mind winning both, but he said that that's not his goal, is to win Rookie of the Year. His goal is to be the champ.
Well, here's a direct
wonderful
quote from him being asked today by the media about the conversation. Direct quote from him. I don't care about any of that. My family is here. This is all I need.
Well,
which is a good thing to say.
The guy has said all the right things all year long. I mean, it's part of the reasons why I think he'd be a tremendous representative.
Yes.
As a Rookie of the Year. This kid plays the game right. He respects the game. He reveres the game. He looks up to the guys he should look up to. He understands his role as a rookie. He's quiet. He goes about his business. In this day and age of look at me, right?
Yep.
2 fingers pointing in.
Yep.
Jackson Merrill is a breath of fresh air. And beyond that, he's really, really been good.
I
been
texted
good.
Adam and I were texting about Jackson Merrill this morning because, of course, we were, because that's what we talk about.
That's what
these
you
days.
do if you're a crazy
And I texted
fan.
him. I said he is living the dream of every single little leaguer, high schooler, college player ever, just coming on the scene in your rookie year at the age of 21, and doing the damage that you've been doing. Now, the WAR thing, Adam also sent me over the weekend an explanation between the 2 wars, because there's a Fangraph war, there's a Baseball Reference war. The analytics numbers have grown on me. I do like some of them, but when a number is different using the same raw numbers, I don't understand that. I don't understand why people are ranking players due to something that's someone's calculation and not actual stuff that's happening.
All I can need to tell you about the WAR statistic is that it says Michael Busch is a 3.2 and it says Jackson Merrill is a 2.4. And if you truly, honestly believe, even if you live in Chicago, that Michael Busch is better than Jackson Merrill, I've got bridge, farmland, swampland, whatever to sell you.
I was at Wrigley last week, I felt the wind of Michael Busch swinging through
Michael
fastballs.
Busch did a few things this year. I'm not, give him his due. He's out all right, but Jackson Merrill's been way better. But the WAR says that Michael Busch is better. What does that tell me? The WAR is wrong.
Yeah. Well, one WAR prioritizes defense and one WAR prioritizes offense.
Well, whatever they prioritize, they don't make a whole lot of sense.
Let me ask this question real quick because we haven't gotten to it. But do you think that they need a pitcher Rookie of the Year and a position player Rookie of the Year? Because it's really too hard to compare the two.
I don't think so.
We can name it the Paul Skeens Award and then the Jackson Merrill Award.
A pitcher can win MVP. A pitcher should be able to win Rookie of the Year. Done deal. More Gwynn and Chris coming up.
That's it, guys.
Our Big Five is next. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Scraby is so excited about today's Big Five that we have to get to it right now. I mean, right now.
You gave me
You said you wanted it.
I did.
Now.
Jeez, but now I got to put it back in the computer because there's something wrong with it. There we go. All right, right now.
Where's the
San Diego, you looking for local sports talk
What the
from
heck?
high school to
See,
the Padres?
it didn't
and
work,
everywhere
Chris.
in between.
You can't find the open for
No, I have
the
the
Big
open.
Five?
It's just not playing. Let's try this one. There we go.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, first Big Five in a while where all three of us are back together, so this should go swimmingly. Chris should love it. And we're going to get started with something that happened yesterday in the Padres game. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Number 5.
We saw a replay challenge come back and bite the Padres with Ha-Seong Kim's home run being overturned and being called a ground rule double. And yes, they did call it correctly. The rule it clearly states everything. Here's former umpire Mike Winters on with Sam Levitt after the game yesterday talking about the ruling.
I understand it's confusing, but when the ball hit the wall and came back towards the field, by rule, it is no longer in flight. So I describe it this way. A player can't catch it. It's the same as if it bounced on the ground once it starts coming back towards the field. So it didn't hit the top of the wall and continue out. If it had done that, then yeah, it would have been a home run. But it came back towards the field and then hit the left fielder and was sent over. So by rule, no longer in flight, and then the fielder knocked it out of the park over the fence in dead area, and now that made it a ground rule double.
There's Mike Winters, former Major League Baseball umpire. I love Sam's hard-hitting analysis.
Sam Levitt there.
So, Chris, do you like the rule's the rule? Do you like the current rule as it stands?
I really don't. And I used to really like Mike Winters, and I thought he'd be a little more supportive.
Change the rule?
Yeah, I think he'd be a little more supportive of the Padres there. No, I'm kidding about that. But no, I don't like the rule. And not just because it didn't benefit the Padres. I think when it happened, I thought it was a home run. And I think, a lot of people did, including the Padres. The ball's airborne. I don't really get how they arrived at this rule in the first place, to be honest with you. Seems to me if it bounces off a shortstop's head and goes over the fence, it's a home run.
What about Jose Canseco? Didn't
Jose
that happen?
Canseco bounced off his head.
It's not the same thing.
I know it's not the same thing, but to me, it never touched the ground until it got over the fence. That's my interpretation of it. Is it never touched the ground till it got over the fence. And if the left fielder is stupid enough, like this guy was, to bat it over the fence, then sorry, pal, home run. And I probably would say the same thing if it happened to Jurickson Profar, but I probably wouldn't say it with as much verve as I'm doing it now. I don't like the rule. I don't. I think, it would have been much cleaner and clearer, because even Mike Winters said it's very confusing. Because we saw one replay that I think Ben Higgins tweeted out where the ball bounced straight up in the air and somehow back toward the fielder, and he knocked it over, and they did call that a home run. And so that was very confusing if you looked at that clip and looked at this clip. So, I mean, to me, to alleviate confusion where you can and say if the ball's in play till it touches the ground. That's how I would do it.
All right. Tony, do you like this current rule as it stands?
It doesn't matter if I like it. It's the rule, and I don't think they should change it. If that's the case, let's change the pickoff move too. Let's because by rule that a lot of those should be boxed. Check swings. We need to actually invent a rule for it. It's one of those things that doesn't happen. It very rarely happens. And the one case that it was called a home run, they got the call wrong. Is that the first time that umpires have ever got a call wrong? Nope. That happens all the time. No, I think this is just a shock because no one had ever seen it. No one had ever been a part of a game that's that it's happened. And to be clear, the Jose Canseco thing, the ball didn't stop flight. It came down off his head and bounced over. So that's different than hitting the wall, coming back in, and then an action knocking it out. Either way, whether I like the rule or not, it is the rule. And, everybody just have to get over it and hope for another.
I'm over it, Tony.
Yeah,
I'm
me
over
too,
it.
me
I'm not really taking it personally. I mean, the Padres lost the game fair and square.
That's why I didn't ask. Did the Padres get screwed?
Yeah, I don't think they lost, but I just think that to alleviate confusion is a good way to make rules. I think that's what rules should be about.
Confusion? Can you name the last time it happened before yesterday?
I don't know. Yeah, well, if it happens again, I want to know what's going on.
Okay. Well, you do. You know what happened. You'll know exactly what happened next time because now you've experienced it.
Yes.
There you go.
I think the confusion was that the microphone for the umpire was not working this entire time.
That didn't help. And by the way, I was listening to the game at that point. My man Jesse was so frustrated, as you can imagine.
I love it. It's so good. I know when the mic's not working, I know I'm going to get a Jesse rant out of it, and it's amazing. All right, there we go. That's the rule.
Number 4.
Much to Chris's dismay and disapproval, Team USA men's basketball brought home the gold over the weekend, and I should also say Team USA women did as well. Kevin Durant, however, feuded with some fans on X after his team narrowly defeated Serbia. The account tweeted out, quote, "Serbia just took the most talented team in the history of the planet to the wire with a medal on the line. Team USA was a 16-point favorite. The whole country should be proud," talking about Serbia. Durant responded asking, "Where are you from?" and then got into it with other fans because they were starting to get into it with Kevin Durant. I know this is confusing. Stick with me. KD replied with, quote, "To all you Nuggets fans, nobody gives a bleep who you all lames believe is the best player in the league. Players got major respect for Joke. We don't worship him like y'all do, but most are in awe of his brilliance. Trolling you cornballs for rooting against us is a part of the game. Deal with it." I love it. The last person tweeted, "Learned a lot about U.S. sports culture today. A lot of flexing for only just beating a nation of 6.6 million in a sport they invented. Acting like Jokic fans are committing treason." Anyway, long story short, Tony.
That was a long story.
And
you didn't make it short.
I had to present everything. Tony, has fandom turned into idol worshiping?
Yes, it has. That's a great question there.
Oh, I wonder where I got it from.
I think it has. I watched this kind of back and forth on Twitter with Kevin, KD, and, I have a lot of issues. I don't, we've talked about it. I don't generally like KD hopping on there and mixing that up, but I liked it in this case. And I just have a lot of problem with how this whole thing is, as it pertains to, it seems like just the USA men's basketball team. They don't see it really anywhere else. And I think it has to do with the fact that NBA has grown in such a crazy way that there was a time where it felt like when, no matter what, Lakers, Celtics, whatever you name your biggest, baddest rival, once the Dream Team started playing together and, those rivalries were probably stronger at that point than anything we have now. People were able to say, all right, let's put that aside. This is a country thing. Let's go ahead and pull for it. And it just bothers the hell out of me to see people like rooting against it. And then, there's a lot of different components to this that, as we went through the whole, kneeling before the flag and people feeling a way about that. But when it comes to, the Olympics and a team representing their country, the thing that bothered so many people, yet you will be willing to go against your country in this particular case in terms of rooting against your country. It's so backwards. And then the other thing is the fandom part. Like, the reason why I say that idolism has become such a big thing in sports is, and it's partly because of social media, it's partly because of how we intake a lot of the media stuff, but it's crazy to me. It's so easy. I guarantee what Kevin did was go to those people's accounts. They could all see they were Nugget fans, every one of them, and all see that that's why they were rooting against their own country in this particular case. That is just, it irritates me. I don't know why it irritates me. It shouldn't, but yeah, I think it is. I think we've gone beyond fandom, and it's something different now, it seems like.
I agree with you. Now, Chris, someone who doesn't really like this team whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't
hates
like him.
his country,
Yeah,
wants
I know, I
the
do.
U.S. to lose.
Yeah.
Has fandom turned into idol worship?
I'm not. Yes, the fan relationship with the players has gone off the rails. So, that part of it, I don't get. And taking these guys on, on social media, just because they're trying to, they have their own agenda. I'm not a fan of that. I don't share Tony's hate for the people who weren't big fans of the United States basketball team. For
Irritation. Never said hate.
Or irritation. Okay.
It's because you're one of them, Chris.
Yeah, I am. But here's the thing: this team, for whatever reason, and I don't.
Can we come up with a reason instead of saying for whatever reason? We just don't like them just because.
Because they walked around just arrogant as hell. That's the best reason I got for you. But here's the other thing. And I'm going back to the old days, but
oh, here we go.
The greatest moment in Olympic history would not have happened if the professionals played. And that was the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. And I do think that there are still a generation of people who think that the LeBron Jameses of the world and the Kevin Durants, and even the Currys, and the rest of them, all have plenty of fame and fortune, and it would be all right if they got out of the way and let these other kids play. I just think that there's a lot of people who hold that against these guys through no fault of their own.
I don't disagree with you on that, but it is nice to see a bunch of NBA players come together and play basketball.
Why did the NBA players get a chance to play?
They originally got a chance to play, I'll be honest with you, Tony, if I'm not mistaken, because we didn't win the gold medal in 1988. And it was so important to us as a country,
the dream
we
team
had to win it, that we suspended our original rules.
Now, I am willing to bet it wasn't the NBA players pushing to do this.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
It was the people who were like, all right, we lost. We don't like losing. This is America. We shouldn't lose.
That's right.
It's true, though.
Let's get the NBA players. And now,
now that we have them, we're upset about it. No, there is a hypocrisy there for sure.
Well,
we could go on all day on this.
Yeah, we really could. That's one that we could talk about forever.
Yes. While the Padres are doing their thing, these pesky Diamondbacks are playing equally as well. Since June 1st, the Diamondbacks rank number 1 in baseball in win percentage, runs per game, batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. So, Chris, are you more scared of the Diamondbacks or the Dodgers right now?
I'm not really. I mean, I'm not scared.
Okay, scared's the wrong word.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to take that literally.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not. I'm not worried about either team right now. I mean, the Padres keep doing what they're doing. I mean, you're asking as far as if I was the Padres.
Who do you not want to face right now?
Again, it's not my favorite question. I'm sorry. I don't care. I mean, in a best-of-5 series, depending on who lines up as the starting pitchers, those are probably the team that's going to scare you the most. And I don't know who the Dodgers, 3 pitchers would be in a series as of right now, health-wise. And, maybe don't even know who the Diamondbacks would be because Kelly's coming back now, and they're getting Eduardo Rodriguez back. So, both these teams are playing, the Diamondbacks are playing great right now. That doesn't mean they're going to be playing this great in October. The Dodgers very well might be playing this great in October. So as of today, it's an easy question. I'm more nervous about the Diamondbacks as of the moment.
Thank you.
But Betts is coming back. Muncy looks like he's about a week away. Dodgers are going to be the truth before too long.
Did you guys see the mean tweet that said, I found Max Muncy and it was a picture of a possum at Dodger Stadium?
That's cool.
It is cool. Tony, who are you more nervous to face right now?
Oh, he gets a softer version of the question.
Well, because you just ripped through it. I can't get two people going, I can't answer this question.
It's a really good question.
Thank you.
2 in a row for you here, buddy. It's probably the Diamondbacks right now. They just won't go away. They're playing like equally as good as the Padres right now. Last 10, I think they're 9-1. Padres are 8-2. So yeah, man, this is shaping up to be a pretty fun closeout of this season. Whether we're quite frankly, we could be talking about the division or a wild card at this point. And
Don't look now, but the Giants have a chance to get the last wild card spot, by the way. And all 4 teams from this division could make the playoffs.
The NL West is, and we said this at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken, that this division had a chance to be really good.
Yep.
And it was slow start. It was a slow start for the whole league, if we're being honest, for the whole National League. But it's kicked into gear. And I think we're in for a fantastic finish, given that the Padres play all of these teams. Even though I hate this schedule, it has worked out in a way where, at least from the Padres standpoint, I have to figure they're going to be in control of their own destiny with the teams that they're facing, the last week of the season. And so, I would say right now it's the Diamondbacks, man. They got healthy and they got going all at the same time. And so, it's been a lot of fun to watch some baseball here the last 2.5 weeks.
Those slimy snakes.
Number 2.
All right, here's kind of a serious story. The Boston Red Sox in Major League Baseball have suspended Jarren Duran of the Red Sox 2 games after field mics caught him saying an anti-gay slur directed at a fan. So the fan was saying, "Tennis racket, you need a tennis racket," which is funny. And it's clear as day. You can also clear as day
Were
here.
where were they at?
I'll check while we're answering, but
I'll check while we're answering. Go ahead.
The fan was where he said that, blah 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 blah. Jarren Duran said the anti-gay slur. You can go look it up. I'm not going to play it right now.
Rhymes with maggot.
Chris, why?
Is that bad?
Literally, why?
Is that bad? I was trying to help the people out.
I think they already knew.
It was at home too.
Okay. So Jarren Duran, his salary for the next 2 games is going to be donated to the Federation of Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, and again, he's been suspended for 2 games. So as you can imagine, fans have feelings on this, and some saying he doesn't need to be suspended at all. Some saying 2 games isn't enough. Tony, does the punishment fit the crime?
Yeah, it does. It does at this point. I mean, I'd feel the same way if he dropped a racial epithet at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things, especially when you're representing a team in a league, you can't, you don't have freedom just to say what you want. I mean, that's kind of, you work for a company. They have their little, real in like a job that's not Major League Baseball, right? You sign any nice company. That's a good company, right?
Yeah.
They got little things in there that you got to sign on that contract. And a lot of that has to do with this kind of situation here that we're talking about. And so, whether you agree or disagree with, that particular element, and people who are of the lesbian and gay community, you can't say stuff like that. It's just that simple.
Yes, Chris, does the punishment fit the crime?
Do we know if he himself suggested that his salary be donated?
I do not. I just saw it tweeted.
What I would say is if he came out and said, "I messed up badly, that was not me, I'm going to immediately donate my salary for a week, a couple of days, whatever," then I would feel like a couple of games suspension might fit the crime, because I would feel like he gets where he went wrong.
Right.
If he is just wandering around like, what's the big deal?
Do you want to hear his statement after?
Then I might need to be a little harsher on the suspension. So, yeah, let me hear.
He said, "During tonight's game, I used a truly horrific word when responding to a fan. I feel awful knowing how many people I offended and disappointed. I apologize to the entire Red Sox organization, but more importantly to the entire LGBTQ community. Our young fans are supposed to be able to look up to me as a role model, but tonight I fell far short of that responsibility. I will use this opportunity to educate myself and my teammates and to grow as a person."
Yeah. Nice statement that somebody else wrote. I'll give him...
You don't think that he's sitting there?
I
like
really don't think
notebook?
he typed that out. No, I don't.
Right after the game, he came in there and set up the computer.
Pretty
and was
sure
like, all right,
he didn't.
I got to pour my heart out into this
I don't
right
think
here.
so.
He's like, "Where's the AI generator?"
I think a week is good for young Jared, and hopefully
Jarren.
it's Jarren. I hope it's a mistake he doesn't make again.
It's not a week. It's 2 games.
I'm saying you asked me if the punishments fit the crime. I'm giving him longer.
All right, here we go. Last one.
Number 1.
I took my dogs, and I just include my parents' dogs at this point, to Fiesta Island this weekend, and they had a grand old time. They're jumping in the water, playing with the other dogs. Lucky looks like a moose while he's swimming, and it's very cute. That's not the story, guys. The story is that my guy Lucky decided he was going to drink a bunch of ocean water. And so as we were walking back to the car, he threw up probably 10 gallons of water that he decided to drink.
10 gallons is a lot.
I know.
That's a lot. He's probably dead.
I mean, he's a big
poured.
dog, but 10 gallons.
I'm exaggerating, but
Okay.
he drank a
You're
lot
trying
of
to
ocean
give
water.
You're trying to give the idea that he was really bloating water.
Yes.
It was flying out.
So as we're walking back, he threw up. I waited a little bit before I got him in the car. I waited like 15 minutes to see if he was done throwing up. I thought he was done throwing up, so I put him in the car. It's maybe 90 seconds into my drive. He starts puking all over the back of the car again. So I put as many towels down under him. It helped, but it didn't help, and it was everywhere. Dog throw up in the crevices of the door and seats is my nightmare, Chris.
Oh,
what's your
brutal.
worst nightmare mess in your car?
In my car?
Yeah, your car, I can imagine, is actually like so clean you can't find a molecule of dirt.
Yes, a nightmare scenario in my car is a speck of dirt. I don't want anybody even dropping a fingernail in my car. That's my nightmare. No, look, I can only compare this to one other story, and this is unfortunate because it involves my wife, but it was one of the funniest ones ever. She was fine, but we went on a water skiing trip many years ago.
Water skiing's hard, as we've talked about.
And she got seasick on the boat.
Ooh,
and we
that's
had
a wrap once you get seasick.
Yeah, and once you're seasick, it's all over. It is. It's a wrap. You can't do nothing about it. But unfortunately, we had to drive back from Fresno to Los Angeles, which means we had to go over
the grapevine.
The grapevine. And it was so hot that you had to turn your this is a day when cars didn't work as well.
Yes.
Had to turn your air conditioning off to get up the grade of the mountain.
That's why they have those stops to fill up water in the radiator. No one else has used those anymore.
Anyway, yes. It was a disaster. The combination caused her to throw up all over the car.
Oh.
And we took her straight to the emergency. And she was fine. But that's probably similar to what you had to go through.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her. A lot of it landed on herself, unfortunately.
Ooh, that's
that's a tough one.
That's so bad. Then
That was a hang with them if there ever was one. And when you walk into the emergency room and the doctor's like, what happened to you?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, what's your worst nightmare mess in your car?
Oh, man.
Because you got kids, which means there could be Cheerios, there could be French fries, there could be anything.
Nasty human beings, dude. So I don't know that I could come up with something.
Just all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. They like to. Okay. Just how about just some old fashioned like food that we stop to get that they never take out the car.
Oh yes. My dad hated that one growing up.
It's like a pet peeve now. I mean,
take your
drink
trash.
Drink cups, or here's my favorite. This is my favorite. And I don't know if it's nasty, but whatever sweet drink they had in the back, they leave it in the car. And, the car gets hot. And then it leaks through the cheap cup that they had.
There's nothing like boiling Fanta orange soda.
Boiling Fanta orange. Yeah. And then it just turns into sugar stick.
That's bad.
All over the thing. That's the nasty one I'm talking about.
I love all of this. Lucky was fine, everyone.
Yeah, but I was going to say, what kind of owner doesn't rush the dog immediately to the vet?
Because he just had water in his stomach.
Come on, man.
I did try.
Dogs like throwing up 10 gallons. You're not taking them to the vet?
As I was waiting for the light to change, I tried to push his head out the window, but it wasn't working. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the Big Five. Good job, everyone. When we get back, we're going to get you set for the big showdown between the Padres and the Pirates. Next. All
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000466.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods. By now, you should know that 7 Mile Casino is San Diego's closest, friendliest, and all-around best place for California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em poker, and all your favorite card games. But did you know it's also a great place to watch sports?
There are TVs everywhere you look, and the phenomenal wood-fired pizzas, pastas, and great salads.
Hey, into the happy hour we go, and there's been a lot to be happy about if you are a Padre fan. 5:04 is the time. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. Padres and Pirates tonight, game 1 of a 3-game series. Actually, game 1 of a 3-game homestand. That's it. Right back out on the road.
Man, the carbon footprint taking a beating on this trip.
You're unhappy with all the air miles.
Miami to San Diego, back to Colorado.
Back here.
Back to San Diego.
Yeah,
they could have stopped on the way home.
It's a 3-game homestand and a 3-game road trip, both this week. Yeah, interesting. By the way, if you haven't left yet for the game tonight, might want to. First 40,000 fans tonight are getting a Tony Gwynn 1999 Henley jersey. They're awesome.
I want one, but
yeah, I want one too. I don't know if I'm going to get there in time. Unless I just leave now. Can you finish the show?
Sure.
The giveaway celebrates the 25th anniversary of Tony's dad's 3,000th career hit. The jersey is available in 5 sizes. I'll try to get one for you, Scraby. Extra small now?
Yeah,
You've
sure.
done your whole
Sure.
your whole fat loss thing.
I mean, I'm definitely a size down, but not extra
Yes,
small.
not extra small. Gates do open 90 minutes prior to the first pitch tonight, and that's like now. 'Cause the gates are going to open in about 5 minutes. So I would get down to Petco if you're going to the game tonight. Get yourself your 1999 Tony Gwynn Henley jersey. First 40,000 fans tonight get it. As the Padres take on the Pirates, Joe Musgrove will be on the mound. We'll hear from Mike Schilt in just a moment, some of his pregame comments, including Mike Schilt making a case for Jackson Merrill's Rookie of the Year cause.
Yes, can I say something that I've been meaning to say all show before we get to that? Because if there's going to be over 40,000 people at the stadium tonight, everybody needs to stand up and give Tyler Wade a standing ovation for him just basically putting his life on the line for a run the other night when he smashed his face into the ground. You know what I'm talking about, Chris?
It was a good base running play. I will say that.
Under the tag, he got them the lead, and he did not care that his face just completely planted into the dirt, and I'm happy that he's not more injured.
While everybody's standing, can we just stay standing for Jackson Merrill?
Oh, of course.
Who basically won you 3 of the 4 games on that road trip.
The reason I brought up Tyler Wade is because he doesn't get much, he doesn't get his mentions, and he
Tyler
definitely
Wade
deserves a mention.
may not step out of the dugout tonight. Jackson Merrill will for sure. I expect a really nice ovation for Jackson tonight from the home crowd as they welcome him back. Following a road trip that can best be described as monumental for Jackson Merrill. He was today named the National League's Player of the Week, not Rookie of the Week, Player of the Week. He was the best player in the National League. So Mike Schilt was asked, and the reason the whole Rookie of the Year thing keeps coming up is you got Pittsburgh in town. You got Paul Skeens, who's not pitching in the series.
Huge missed opportunity.
But you do have Pittsburgh writers that are here, and they probably think Skeens should win it, and they want to know what the Padres think about Merrill winning it. And so here's Mike Schilt on making a case for his guy.
Yeah, like I've said, he's making his case. I think he's making it loud and clear, and your actions on the field best represent it. Clearly, he's been super impactful for this club, rookie or not. And I'd like to think that's part of the consideration for that award is what you're doing to help your club. Skeens is clearly a special talent, having a special year as well. So both are rightfully going to be considered for it. But I just know that, as we all do, with Jackson being the everyday player, playing in a really good center field and contributing what he's done, and at the plate, and winning awards with Player of the Weeks and Rookies of the Month and so forth. He's done more, clearly done his part to make his case, but I won't speak for him, won't even try, but, we both have talked about it, and it's really more about, how are we going to compete today and how are we going to help the Padres win baseball games. Way more important to him and us than any other accomplishments, but I'd be irresponsible not to tout him highly for the opportunity to win it, but he's making his own case. It's pretty clear for me.
Very good. By the way, I tried to make a case the other day for Mike Schilt. You got to start considering this guy for Manager of the Year. When you look around the National League, Pat Murphy with the Brewers is probably going to be the odds-on favorite. Brewers weren't really expected to do a lot this year. They lost a lot of players. They lost their manager, Pat Murphy, who was a former part-time manager, for the Padres here. Pat Murphy was here.
Yes.
I think it was after Bud Black left. Pat Murphy stepped in and finished out that season here. He's probably the odds-on favorite because the Brewers are on top in their division, but I'm not really sure too many people expected the Padres, after cutting payroll the way they did, to be this good. Mike Schilt, I think, needs to be in the conversation as well. And he could be more in the conversation if Fernando Tatis Jr. comes back. And I think he's sorry, Mike. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. I'm not ready for you yet. Fernando is going to come back. I don't think there's a lot of question about that. But the health, what I don't think ever happened was when he went down and was hurt, I don't think any of us really got just how serious it was.
It's a broken leg.
We heard a lot of this, that, and the other, but I don't think we really realized Fernando was in real danger of missing the rest of this season. And I guess it's not 100% sure that he's going to be back, but we're sure hoping. All right, Mike, I'm ready for you.
No, I talked to Scott Hacker, our physical therapist, a little bit today. I want to, circle up with Toddy, but he's back from Arizona where he's been the last week today, and we'll sit down with him and revisit his plan. But nothing new.
Is there any MRIs on the horizon for him?
That'll be part of the conversation, but nothing I'm aware of.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like it.
You don't like the fact that he didn't say, September 4th would be good.
Do you think
like
that
to
he's
hear
playing a little coy and maybe Fernando's back next week and we have no idea?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that getting the news of Fernando's return out would be a very good thing for the fans, the ball club, and everybody concerned.
True.
So I don't think he would hide that information.
Good point.
I just don't think he's due back yet until September, and that's what I expected all along. But honestly, when you consider the Padres are running off this record with a David Peralta, Bryce Johnson combo in right field, this is not Fernando Tatis Jr., one of the best players in baseball. I heard something. Did I hear it from you?
What?
I don't remember. Remember if I heard it from you or somewhere else. Somebody was saying that you can make a weird case for the fact that every time Fernando's been out.
Oh, it may have been from me through a fan.
Yeah, every time Fernando's been out, the Padres go on a hot streak.
It's true. I mean, 2022, they go to the NLCS. He didn't play all year. 2023, obviously, they don't make the playoffs. 2024, he leaves the lineup, and they start winning. Now, I don't believe
not enough
that he's
of an
the
example
problem.
for me. Yeah, it's not enough of an example size for me.
If it continues over years, then maybe. But I don't think that the addition of Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to make the team worse.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's anybody in a Padre front office right now sitting there going, every time he comes back, we slump. So let's hope he doesn't come back.
No one is saying that.
I wouldn't think so.
And you got to think about how we always talk about players who are injured. His team is on a road trip going 5-1, and he's stuck in Arizona rehabbing. You think he wants to be in Arizona rehabbing? No, he wants to be back with the team on the field.
Fernando does love the game. I find it really hard that he's trying to stay away. And I find it hard that anybody in their right mind would want him to stay away. The Padres would be so much better if they had him in the middle of this lineup right now. A lineup which, by the way, is hitting .265, which leads the major leagues. The San Diego Padres, for the longest time, had one of the greatest average hitters in the history of baseball.
Just kidding.
His name was that guy's dad, right? But
who did you point to?
I pointed to Tony, even though he's not here. But even though they had the great Tony Gwynn, did you know that the San Diego Padres, in their 55-year history, have never once led the league in batting average, ever?
What does that tell you? Does it tell you that
I don't know what it tells
is...
me. I just think it's kind of strange.
That is strange.
Honestly.
Because you got a guy hitting well over 300 that should take the average up a little bit.
Yeah, when Tony was here, despite having him, they lead the majors right now, .265 average. They have never done that in franchise history before. at the end of the season, still led the majors in hitting.
Not bad.
Something to keep an eye on.
Not bad.
All right, one last thing with Mike Schilt, and we'll finish things up, get it ready for Sammy Levitt's pregame show. Yu Darvish, his name is back in the mix a little bit at least. Dennis Lynn of The Athletic reporting today. Yu Darvish is doing some throwing, some live BP. Maybe he could return this season. A lot of people, by the way, keep asking, and they ask me every day, and I probably ask you too, what really is the story with Yu Darvish? Answer, we don't know, and it really isn't important.
Yeah, I'm not going to
speculate. The fact of the matter is, and we're not going to speculate, right? He's got something that he needs to get taken care of, a la, Freddie Freeman had that. Yu Darvish has been a more serious situation. Evidently, Yeah,
the Freddie Freeman stuff is scary.
Very scary. And, so that's the answer to that. It doesn't matter. What matters is, could he come back? That would be impactful. Here's Mike Schilt sharing what he knows about that possibility.
It was news to me, but I've been respectful of Yu's privacy and supportive of him and sending him well wishes through Shingo, his translator. And checking in on him, and Shingo's been saying he's been doing well. From a personal standpoint, I have not asked one thing about how or what Yu's doing from a baseball perspective, but did hear that he's feeling good enough to organize his own live batting practices and back to a healthy standpoint to be able to do that, and clearly that's encouraging for him physically. And but again, my intent for Yu Darvish is how he's doing as a human,
as is all of ours, but. It certainly wouldn't hurt if Darvish, popped back in September and said, hey, I got 4 or 5 starts in me.
Different situation. I
have no idea where that's coming from.
Who was talking over me there?
Oh my gosh, that's Xander Bogaerts. Okay,
Xander.
All of that.
I was just making sure it wasn't a swear word or something.
Xander. Speak when spoken to, Xander.
Oh, hey, Xander can say whatever he wants.
Not when I'm talking. Xander can say what he wants on the Xander Bogaerts show.
He will get one, too, if he wants one.
Probably will get one. He could buy one. But for now, it's more Gwynn and Chris.
I got to tell you, real quick, Yu Darvish, someone said something to me over the weekend, and it's been in my head, but it finally just, clicked in. If Yu Darvish wasn't facing something very serious, he would not have put himself on the restricted list and said, I will not be paid. That's pretty telling to me.
I don't really need any more info, but you're absolutely right. Okay. So let's just keep our fingers crossed for Yu Darvish and whatever it is that he's going through. And, hopefully he gets through it sooner rather than later, and he's able to get back to some baseball. As mentioned, it wouldn't hurt the Padres. All right, Padres and Pirates, Sam Levitt pregame show. I got to tell you something. Sam Levitt has a jam-packed pregame show again.
Really?
Oh, my goodness. This guy works so hard.
Are you being facetious?
I'm only saying that because he told me to say that last week.
Oh.
And I forgot to say it.
Oh, yes.
So I'm saying it for tonight.
Yes.
But Sam Levitt's pregame show will be awesome. Padre fans on your way to Petco Park, take your time, but make sure you get there because you want to get that Tony Gwynn jersey. And we'll come back to finish things up on Gwynn and Chris after traffic.
From the
All right, welcome back. It's Gwynn and Chris. Chrisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby alongside. A few minutes left before we turn it over to the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Sam Levitt. It's next on 97.3 The Fan. Want to remind you, baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan, and we've got great baseball coverage here, let me tell you.
We sure do.
It's presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile, and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator. Those always are fun to use.
Yes, they are.
Find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch.
That wasn't the one you were supposed to read.
What?
That was not the one you're supposed to read.
Well, I didn't read that one before. So
I did.
I'm making up for it.
I did.
Well, I don't see another one. So
this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by
God.
Express Employment Professionals.
Come on!
If your supply chain demands a flexible workforce, hire with Express Employment Professionals with contract and full-time workers from Express Employment. You get the staff you need and manage contingent labor costs. Learn more at expresspros.com. That's expresspros.com.
On Friday, you and I did, actually Thursday because we didn't have much of a show Friday, we did a countdown of our top 5 favorite Olympic things this year. We included things like the men's 1,500 meters, which the Americans won in a last-second lunge. The 100 meters, which was an unbelievable race.
Yes, it was.
You liked
golf,
yeah,
trampolining.
Scotty Scheffler, breaking down.
Yeah.
And, really understanding what it meant to him. And
I was more talking about his 62 on a Sunday.
I know you were. Djokovic had a similar reaction to winning a gold medal.
Yeah, he did.
Funny, but none of the American basketball players really seemed to break down in tears.
Did you see the videos of LeBron pushing people out of the way last night?
Tony, we argued about it already. I'm not going to get into it.
Wait, you did?
No, on the Big Five. We disagree. Tony doesn't understand.
No. I was talking about him on the streets later at night. People were asking for pictures with him, and he was just pushing everybody out of the way. If you're as famous as LeBron James and you're walking around Paris after the Olympics, you're going to get asked for pictures. Sorry.
I think you are. Anyway, look, it was a brilliant Olympics for the Americans. They won all the medals, whatever it was. The most gold medals, the most overall medals by a wide margin. I don't know what the totals were, but it was ridiculous how many we won. And
well, let me tell you.
Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles.
Turkish sharpshooter.
All of the great athletes.
I have the medal count here.
What was the final? What do we have?
USA ran away with the total.
I know.
126.
Yeah.
But
we won the
tied
gold.
with China.
Tied, huh?
40 golds for USA, 40 golds for China.
I think China won all theirs in diving.
Maybe.
I'm not trying to.
Sounds like it.
Not trying to cash shade over that. They won a lot in diving. They're great divers. Anyway, I'm bringing all of this stuff up for the Olympics.
Great divers.
Because here's to me what the Olympics really should represent. The winner of the men's javelin this year threw the javelin 304.79 feet.
Wow.
Which is quite a toss.
That is a toss.
It's the 6th longest javelin throw ever.
Wow.
This guy is 27 years old. His name is Arshad Nadeem.
Okay.
Here is why I think it's an amazing moment to explain why we love the Olympics and what the Olympics are all about. Arshad Nadeem is from the country of Pakistan. This was not only Pakistan's first medal in the javelin, it was Pakistan's first ever medal of any kind.
Wow.
In track and field.
That's crazy.
And he got the gold medal.
That's awesome.
That means something to me, just hearing that story. Imagine the hero's welcome that he received when he got back to Pakistan, or when he gets back to Pakistan.
I hope he does get a
I would think
ovation.
he would get one. That's cool. What's not cool to me is LeBron James getting more glory, but that's for another story.
This Olympics is really...
No, I like the Americans in every sport, but those guys
You
bugged
really
me.
hate the basketball
They
team.
bugged me. They bugged me. I got to tell you, they did. All right.
That's it?
No, I got a few more things here.
Good.
I wanted to give everybody a quick. Let's get back to baseball. Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. Yeah, no Olympic music.
I was going to say, I want to talk more Olympics, talk about how dumb breaking was.
You already talked about it.
I know, I wanted to say it again.
Well, you just did.
I hope it's a one and done.
It is.
It's official.
Well, it's not official, but it won't be at the next Olympics for sure. They already have whatever the new debut sport is in LA, and it's not going to be that.
Okay.
So if breaking does come back, it won't be for 8 years at the minimum.
I wonder why they do that.
I don't know. Who knows? Probably because somebody paid somebody to do that.
Oh, you're probably right.
I hate to say.
Flag football's debuting.
The way the Olympics work.
Squash is also debuting.
It is flag football. You're right. All right, let me get to this before we go.
Sorry.
Because Padre fans need to know. Dodgers' largest lead this year in the division was 9 games. Largest lead over the Padres this year was 10. Lead currently is 3.5. Who has the advantage heading down the stretch? Well, of the Dodgers' 44 remaining games this year, 30 are against winning teams. 30. And furthermore, the Dodgers' next 20 games, starting tonight in Milwaukee, are all against teams currently with winning records.
Ooh.
So if you're wondering about the Dodgers, the next 3 weeks is going to tell us an awful lot. However, the Dodgers are 39-30 this year. They have a good record against teams over 500. Now, let's check in on the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks have 44 games remaining. 31 are against teams with record of 500 or better, about the same. And Arizona's 34-34 so far against teams like that, 500 or better. Padres, almost identical. 31 left with teams with winning records. Padres this year, teams with winning records, 35-35. So whatever that tells you, it tells you. But the one thing that stand out to me there is the Dodgers play their next 20 against teams with winning records. Padres certainly don't. Padres are playing the Pirates first and then the Rockies this week.
Yes.
If you want to catch the Dodgers, I would say that this is a big week for the Padres. Sorry, don't want to be greedy, but we got to ask for another really good week.
Okay.
And make up ground while you can make it up.
I think that's not greedy at all. I mean,
it's what everybody wants.
It's almost expected at this point.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. It never should be expected in baseball that you just can go 6-0 whenever you want to. It's just not that kind of game. But the Padres have been making it look like that in recent weeks. Hopefully they can keep it going starting tonight with Musgrove on the mound against Pittsburgh. In the lineup tonight, Manny Machado not there. Quick update. No update, really. Manny just getting the night off.
I haven't seen anything, yeah.
Yeah, so be prepared for that. And I guess I came up like 12 seconds short.
It's
so
like, where are we going?
What can I tell you? We got a minute to go.
No, we're not 12 seconds short. We're like 2 minutes short.
No.
What can I talk about here?
Yeah, we'll go back. You can go talk about breaking again if you want to.
Oh, actually, people were saying
I never saw the video of the
Australian woman
breaking thing. What was all that about? There was a lot of hullabaloo about that.
Maybe one of the worst. She basically what the person posted was this person convinced their country to send them to the Olympics for free. And I got to get this for you, Chris, because it's pretty hilarious. Just look up Australia breaking and you will find it. But
was she just not?
Here it is, Chris. Here it is. I'm playing it for Chris, but you need to just look.
Well, it's pretty
when you
much
get
everywhere.
Home. Yeah,
I mean, just look at it right now.
Oh, okay.
Why was she?
It's not good. I mean, this is
she got 0 points.
I don't know that she got 0 points, but someone said Australia just set breakdancing back 40 years.
She got 0.
I don't want to make fun of her because she obviously made it, but it's kind of crazy that that's an Olympian right there.
It was not good.
It was not good.
Apparently. Okay.
Let's see. The Turkish Hitman was a hit of the Olympics.
Who?
The Turkish Hitman. Remember the guy with the gun in his, or the shooting, and he had his hand in his pocket and he had just regular glasses?
You like that guy.
Yeah, because he's awesome. All right, that's it, Chris.
Dodgers, Brewers, scoreless in the second. All right. I'm on my way to the ballpark, by the way.
Oh, everybody, go see him.
If you see me coming, get out of my way. I really want one of those Tony Gwynn jersey giveaways.
Make sure you stop him and talk to him for at least 5 to 10 minutes.
He enjoys the stop and chat.
He does. He loves
Chris
it.
loves the stop and chat. So do you.
I do. If someone wants to talk, we can talk. Let's go.
Back tomorrow at 2 o'clock for Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matt Scravy. Stay tuned. Eco Water, SoCal, Padre pregame show, Sam Levitt.
Next.
Coming up.